Green light, go, go, go.
Hello and welcome everybody, including the people that saw that I didn't switch to the next scene quite in time, especially you. I appreciate your attentiveness. I'm Jamie Saxon. I'm here with Mitch Hobbs. I think it's just the two of us for this very moment. It is indeed. How are you doing tonight, Mitch?
Look, after last night, my head's still spinning after those two races. I know it was nothing compared to Split Green. Let's just not even talk about Split Green, honestly. But yeah, it was a good evening overall.
That's right. We'll take a good evening. A good evening is good enough. I certainly had some interesting moments. And I think got to be one of the first to have two safety cars in a single race. I mean, Imola can be a tricky one, so hopefully we don't see too much of that tonight, but you never know. It's a very difficult track. So we're heading into qualifying in just a minute.
Yeah, look, it's going to be. I think qualifying isn't as as tough as I think people expected it to be. I think everyone was expecting bumper to bumper, like it was for, certain. I don't know what the word, packs that like left the pits at the time. But I think it's actually, considering how tight. It's not necessarily the smallest track, but for a track like this, you'd expect it to be fairly packed. But it was actually fairly clean from my perspective. That's got nothing to do with me leaving the pits first or anything. But look, I think we're in for some. I'll get my words out, for some good fun.
Yeah, and so for reference, I'm going to put into chat the image that I'm using for the track map, right? So when people are talking about track corners, those corner numbers and corner names, that's what I'm referring to, right? If anyone's got issues, they're welcome to upload a new one to Wikipedia. When we talk about it, that's that. I have a confession. So if the stewards in the chat can just mute their ears, block their ears for a moment, or mute them, I guess, I don't know. I flashed my lights in qualifying. I was unhappy with the amount of space that the driver in front had left, and wanted them to get a move on. So I was naughty. You're not supposed to flash your lights. It was rude of me, and I shouldn't have done that, but I did.
That's all right. They can penalise you next week for that.
Yeah,
I did.
No,
I
is
did
that
actually.
Braden? No way.
It is indeed. How are you doing tonight, Braden?
Yeah, good answer. Good answer.
Good. Yeah, I'm glad. I'm glad he's here.
I think he's good. I think he's good.
Sorry. Yeah, I was launching Google Chrome and my PC shut itself for a moment because
You right?
I don't have a Monster Rig. I'm assuming you asked how I was.
Yeah,
and how I
you
am.
did.
Yeah, look, I'm good. I'm sporting a splint on one of my fingers. I got a nasty
mate.
laceration on the knuckle on Monday, so I had to get 4 stitches in that.
Oh, mate. Is that what affected your performance last night?
No, my lack of skill.
Oh, right. Okay.
Yeah, pretty sure I caused a safety car last night, which I wasn't too happy about.
Look, we don't talk about that. What happened?
I was coming through one of the corners. It was like turn 4.
Turn 5. Yep.
Yeah, the exit of that, and my left-hand wheels just touched
the dirt. Yeah.
Yeah, and then I tried to catch the car, and there was a bit of a squiggle, and then I ended up just going sideways. Meanwhile, I had another driver to the right of me, and I ended up collecting them on my way, like in the whole kerfuffle of things, and I think it just started a chain reaction, and then a few more cars got involved that were slightly behind us, and yeah, it just ended up being a disaster. So I copped my 15-second time penalty, copped it on the chin, and then moved on with my life. I suppose I just got to get good, really.
It's always some sound advice, but it is a very, very tricky track, and one that does make it very challenging, I think, to safely overtake. So, and I am going to point out Cam Farmer's point about kink shaming on turn 1, because turn 1. So I'm going to message you, Space Dog, the image that I'm using, or at least the link to the Wikipedia article that I stole it from, that I shared into the chat, so that everyone can follow along with what the track map and the corner numbers, what we're referring to, at least or the ones that I am when we're talking about it. So you're
Whoa,
talking
that's
about...
raunchy. I think you sent me the wrong image. That is very raunchy.
No, I sent you the right one, but let me
Ooh.
give you a second one that's
That's definitely you. I know that Lily White from anywhere.
It's a map of something. So you're talking about Villeneuve Chicane is where you had the moment, and it's a tough track. It's a really, really tough track in these ways.
It's a tough track if you're in a car that doesn't have the engine in, let's say, I don't know, the front.
That certainly helps, but I think the flow is a bit interesting. Sorry, I'm just reading Dylan commenting on my hair colour, which means it's probably time to go over to a on-track cam. I've had enough of that. Yeah, I had a haircut, and I'm a lot greyer than I thought. So coming into Tamburello, you've got that left-hand kink that kind of... You could fit like 3 cars wide in there if you want to, but the braking line takes you from left to right and then back to the left, which makes
That's
it...
a great stream you've got there, Jamie. It's a black screen with the wrong overlay. You're having a good start to the evening.
What?
Yeah, you can fit 3 cars on the track that is provided. However, good luck trying to leave the space and be efficient through the corner with 3 cars in one spot. It's a disaster waiting to happen.
Oh, hang on, it's the wrong overlay now. He's really... he'll press some buttons and it'll be fixed.
Oh, okay. All right. Some changes I made before have not remained. Okay, we should be resolved now. There we go. We're getting there.
That's not any better.
It should be fine now. Now it's fine.
It had the 2 overlays on each other. It was quite funny.
Yeah, okay. We got there. So I mean, even here, maybe sitting in a nice far chase, so we get the flow. It is coming in late into Sabira's lap, and he was the first one out on a flyer. And we are kind of late in through Sector 3. Very anti-Alta here. Just, is it a corner? Is it a couple of speed bumps? I'm not really sure. So you'll see, and everyone who's raced it knows full well, you take just a ridiculous amount of curb there.
And if there's one thing that I know about you, Jamie, your pet peeve is yeeting curbs.
I dislike when the intention of the track, which is for that to be a very tight chicane, very, very tricky, is you can just kind of circumvent it by just pounding over the curbs, right?
Yeah,
because for most of us,
you have a lot of respect for tarmac, it seems.
Well,
whereas the goal to racing is to get from A to B as fast as possible.
And that's fine. I think that is a poor part of the track, because it should either be just a left-hand turn, or it should be an actual chicane. And at the moment, it's kind of neither. It's the worst of both worlds. That's my view on the matter. And it's really it's only that corner that behaves that way. But we saw it last week at Zolder as well. There's a couple that are very much like that, and I dislike it. It's just you would not just put a speed bump in the middle of the road here, right? Like just a regular street speed bump, because that would be ridiculous.
I don't know. Speed bumps in racing could be the new thing.
I guess so. But very anti-Alta is exactly that. It is just a speed bump on a left turn. That's why I dislike it. But we come here for strong views, right? That's what it gets.
Well, yeah.
Maybe. I'm not sure what people join
try.
us for. They have each to their own reasons. And if that's one of them, if that's what they enjoy to hear, then more power to them.
Just tell me if I'm going insane here. Is the track not on optimum?
No, it's not. I heard that there was a lot of rain through the earlier sessions. So it has actually just ticked to optimum as you say that, actually.
Yeah,
Can we have more rain?
That makes the times coming through for qualifying a little more impressive. Gallo currently sitting on top with a 41.9. It's still quite an impressive time. It's a speedy time, but on a fast track, that's really good. Gallo's looking very pacey at the moment. He's been holding P1 for quite a while as well, as he just gets pipped by Sybaris.
And Madison and Britt. All on
Sorry, your
Sorry,
comments
Gallo.
just gone straight out the window there, Braden.
No,
Yeah.
well, I mean, it was exactly
Well.
as you were saying it. He's come through very quick. And as well, pitwall.live is up online as well, so if there's anyone in particular that you're wanting to see how they're performing, they've just done some updates, so you get some interesting delta changes as well, which is a nice jump. So I can actually see, so Senekas jumped up to P13, that's a 4 position gain on where he was. Lewis 1 position on his last qualifying. That's really cool, actually. So second window, keep us up, obviously. Pitwall.live. Really, really cool. But yes, let's find someone who's on a big gain, and JP is one of those. He's on one of the biggest gains at the moment, especially for folks who are currently in the top 10. Half second, gets past some traffic. A Honda there, who was not on a valid lap, so does need to let him through. Oh,
Yeah. Look, look at that gain. This is what we like to call Bentley rubbish. Good at Imola. That's what we call this.
Watch this Bentley through the chicane.
Yeah, let's. Wait, what chicane? What's that?
Straight line. Don't even brake. Keep it pinned.
Oh, that makes me want to be actually physically sick. That's not how you take it in the Audi, just to say the least. That's. Why can't the Audi do that?
I mean, it can. A couple of times.
Not
Just-
really.
Just not many.
Oh wow! Look at this. 8 tenths up.
Yeah,
You're
he's
not gonna
using
get into the-
every centimetre of the track.
He's not going to get into the 40s though. He's going to get into the 41 ones. Yeah, it's a very
P1.
good lap. Oh, here's his brother. This is John.
It's the double Senekas, the double header coming through. Yeah, full 1 second gain there. Pulls him
Yeah,
up
wow.
into P8. Really, really strong work there. Robert Shaw, who I pointed out before, had made a big jump from his banker lap earlier, is the better part of a second. As he crosses the line, pulls himself into P13. Kitching will be an interesting one as well. So he's coming through for a quarter second gain. P5 is where he stands, so pushes himself up into P3. Would have liked just a touch more, but that's been Lachlan Nichols as well, 7 tenths.
Oh wow! Yeah,
That was
7
close to
tenths
cutting.
in the Jag. P14. It's good effort. Big gap though there between him and Robert Shaw though, so might see that gap come out. Oh, Madison's not up anymore. Oh,
He is
hold
now.
on. Oh, he is now. Oh, he's
He's
invalidated.
invalidated.
Yep. Oh, that's gotta hurt. I know that feeling.
Very, very tight.
Oh, hello.
This is Gallo. This is one of the few still fighting for the top 10 now with Kitching out. Madison, I don't think he had enough time. Oh, Madison we just saw go off. So Gallo, what does he need? He needs 3.5 tenths to be able to make pole. But even the gain that he has... Oh, okay. There you go.
Well,
That's-
he's just lost it.
Yeah,
And just
he has.
in response to that, Pip, you'll actually find it's John and John because Jean-Pierre in French just means John Peter. So it's actually John and John. So we've got 2 John Senekas driving. Is it Senek? I'm not even going to go there.
Now that's some funny parents.
Oh, yeah. They are hilarious.
Yeah, I'm sure the French would not say that their names mean English things. They mean French things.
Well, same thing. You know what I meant.
I mean, they probably
like
roughly
15.
translate to baguette and croissant.
Baguette and croissant, no.
There's about 900 years of war to try and
Yeah.
determine the right of this. Either way, as we talk European politics, Senekas does take pole from Madison, Kitching P3, and Gallo P4 wasn't actually able to complete the lap in time, with Britt, Reynolds, and Sibiris best of the Pro-Ams in P7, alongside Senekas the second in the BMW. Villanova in 17th, highest of the AM class, with the next contender for that, Steve Lewis, in P19. So, some good efforts all round though. And let's get that view. Oh, so we can see it does look like for this 20-minute stint at least, we are going to see some fairly clear track. Indeed, if we go down to kind of a dash view, you can see the sky above. What Kitching sees, depending on his chosen view.
He
Looks
actually
pretty
sees the
clear.
rear end of a Bentley.
He does.
It's
indeed.
taking up more of the screen than the Lamborghini dashboard and the sky.
Yeah, but the more screen that Bentley takes up, the more of a slipstream Kitching's going to get.
Well, look, that's true, but you're not really going to get much slipstream on lap 1, are you? Until the straight.
Yeah, and it is worth. It's one of those things here. One of the great overtaking opportunities is into Tamburello. And the slipstream is a big deal there, especially because a lot of the cars are usually set up for some pretty high downforce to get them decent pace through Temporello and Villeneuve. Sorry, I'm getting myself confused between Villanova and Villeneuve now. Aqua Minerale, it's more the camber that holds you in, I think. The aero is not as important, it's my opinion.
No, but more importantly, Ben Carreau's asking us why we're comparing baguettes and croissants. I think he wants to know. We are. I'm aware they're two different things. One's small and curly and, well, not straight, and the other's long and straight.
Yeah, I mean, they do fulfill very different needs, I think. It's a challenging one. Before we go too much further, though, any surprises for you guys in qualifying positions while we do our formation lap?
I haven't had the best look. I'm actually a little bit surprised that Ashton Reynolds is a bit further down than I was expecting. Not saying that that's not going to change in the race, but thought he might have been a little bit higher. St. John Sneakers, not the Bentley Sneakers, is in a very good position. It's a good performance from Villeneuve. I don't think we've seen him this high in quali, at least. Maybe in race at the end. Lockie Nichols done a good job there in the Jag to get it up to P17. So I don't think
Even
there's
Sean Madison is looking quite good.
Yeah.
He is a pacey driver. He is usually up towards the front, but I don't think it's very often that he has a front row start.
Yeah, good question by Corey Sweet. Where are the Mercs? It's a long way down.
Yeah, go grab your shovel, mate. You're going to be digging.
It's Bender is the highest Merc, I think, in P30, and he's the only one here tonight for the Mercs. For me, it's Kitching being able to get a Lamborghini around this track into the top 4, indeed top 3, is a really, really good effort. I think Lamborghini, like any of the mid-engine cars that we've pointed out, very, very tricky. Ferrari, not as bad, is my kind of take on it, but the Lamborghini, very, very, very touchy at the best of times. So that'd be my call out, I think. So as the safety car pulls in, who wants to take this one?
I suppose I can take it.
Oh, it's yours. It's yours.
Yeah, go, mate.
Usually, Hobbsy dives on it, so I give him that chance to dive on it. If he's not going to dive on it, I'll take it.
No, I usually let you have. We'll go for it now, mate, so I don't interrupt you.
All right, no worries. So Sneakers and Madison leading the way. Madison on the front row. A rarity as far as I'm concerned. Correct me if I'm wrong, but we are about to go green. A couple of those cars on the right-hand side might want to push up a little bit, leaving a little bit of space as we go green. Kitching already having a look on the inside. He wants to find a car's gap, find his way through. As Madison gets the jump, coming into turn 1, and he has taken the whole shot. Madison P1, we're going 3 wide, a little further back down the pack. It's pretty clean so far, as they just sort themselves out through turn 2. Turn 3, not as dangerous. Very, very clean start by all of these drivers, so well done to them. A fantastic start by Madison there, getting the whole shot, taking P1 off the start. A couple of Astons going side by side, jostling position. One of them touches the grass, keeps it pointing in a straight line. Lives to fight another day.
A surprisingly clean Sector 1. I saw a couple of little door-to-doors, but nothing too dramatic has come of it, and Madison has held the gap from JP. It's small at the moment, but that's lap 1. And all in all, I thought Kitching was going to sneak a position very early, but in the end, it looks like the top order are all pretty similar to where they started. Everyone being very, very civilized. Oh no! As I say that, is that Paul Britt, and there is a big old pile up of cars. That's going to be a safety car, I think. I'm going to go back. We're going to see what happened here again. And I think as trees actually get in the way, I am going to go here and just get an idea of what's happened to him. But I'm pretty sure a safety car would have to be called for that. We will
My
see
money
when we
is
come
on
back.
a little too much curb somewhere and flicking the rear of the car out.
Oh, it's...
Oh,
Oh, tap there from the good avoidance there from that Audi though, but he's brought the Aston. I'm not quite sure. I think it's Sabirus has brought around his teammate. Oh no, that's
that
might be
Jag
Nichols.
should have known a lot better. Yeah, I want to point out that it seems like there was a couple of cars there that weren't respecting yellow flags and just wanted to pin it on the exit of the chicane. Respecting yellow flags is definitely something we should be doing. Fortunately, we don't get penalised for it in sim racing. But if it's
Yeah.
going to keep leading to disasters like that, I'll be the first person to put my foot down and say, can we please have yellow flags looked at? Which probably won't happen because the stewards have enough on their hands as it is, let's be
Yeah, look,
honest.
that's right. But I think it's one of those things as a driver, you just need to have that respectful enough, especially after an incident like that where there's multiple cars piled up. You could bin it. You've just got to, if you lose, 5 positions from it, you've still got to just slow down and make sure that you're not going to make the incident worse.
Yeah, you're not wrong. We can see Neil Alexander in the chat suggesting that a look at the rules to say, look, it is starting, especially with the increased amount of drivers, it's starting to get a little bit too much because it causes these secondary pile-ups. Now, obviously, we don't have to worry too much about the safety aspects here, given that we're not likely to actually hurt someone, although it can happen with the increased proliferation of direct drive wheels and whatnot. But it just causes more and more incidents. And to be fair, up until now, if you could keep it safe, you could kind of push, and that's going to be the pattern of behaviour. And I think it's a good time now to look at, hey, it's starting to get a bit too much. Do we need to settle this down? I think we do. So we'll see what happens there. But yeah, unfortunate, and it's very, very difficult. It's one of those things that really highlights. We see some of the carnage back here. It looks like there's indeed a BMW that's pulled completely off the track. And they can pit under the safety car, assuming it's the same rules as what it was yesterday. So you can see Sabirus in the 93 car and the number 5 car of John Sonikas in the pits there. So they've had some issues. There's no gains to be made because there is no mandatory pit stop, so drivers were allowed to pit last night, so I assume it's the same here. But yeah, coming out, first lap, cold tyres. By that point in the lap, their brakes should reasonably be up to temperature, but they'll still be cold tyres. Getting into that groove of how tight that they can follow behind, it can be very tricky.
So the safety car is in. Madison has control of the pack, just getting a little bit of warmth in the tyres, holding that pack, doesn't want to fall victim to the slipstream, and he's off. He catches Sonikas sleeping, and he has already created quite a substantial gap. So we've got the Nissan and the Ferrari side by side to the rear. That's the Nissan of Reynolds having a look around the outside of Kitching. Thinks better of it, goes for a switchback. Not exactly an ideal place for a switchback when it's a quick right-hander. Madison has driven away with this one. It was a fantastic restart by him.
Yeah, very nicely executed.
It's well played there from Madison. I was expecting that just wait. Oh, it was an Aston that's lost a couple of positions. Might have tapped the outside gravel there. He's played that very well. Caught Sonikas napping there. And dare say he's probably nearly pulled out. Whoa. It's that half a second or more just to have that gap. And he's going to need that because just how amazing that Bentley is around here.
Yeah, Tarquin pointing out there's no warming tyres once the safety car went in. He's got control of the race at that point. So he absolutely can. Everyone else kind of can't. More because they need to be careful.
Yeah, I think a lot of people are thinking about the incident at Mugello, I believe it was, in F1, where Valtteri Bottas did a very similar thing on the restart of that race, and there was carnage towards the rear. That's not on Bottas. That's on the cars further down the field, not paying close enough attention to what's actually happening. So, yeah, Madison is free to do whatever he likes, and it's on everyone else to adhere to whatever's happening around them.
Yep. As long as he doesn't go unnecessarily slow, he can't just park it and then decide to hit the power whenever he feels like. He does need to maintain a reasonable pace, but control of the race is his. So all's fair there. And at the end of that lap, it does look like Kitching is still holding on third. And, oh, we must have missed it. And I might be able to actually catch back on it. Because Gallo, I think, gets a run here on Reynolds.
Had to run from a long way back.
Must be one hell of a run. Because he was ahead when we come back to it. So,
well, you can see Reynolds is battling Kitching up ahead. So, yeah, obviously being offline and going through the corner a little bit odd. He's lost Reynolds a little bit of time.
If oh, okay, I'm not exactly sure what I've seen. But we have the positions that we have. That was a replay, right? I felt like I must have seen something in my imagination because it didn't look like what I thought it looked like. But, you know, what is life but an illusion? As we see,
There's some deep words.
Yeah.
you know, come for the racing, stay for the spiritualism. As we see Kitching testing out the suspension of his Lamborghini. Now he's going to have the inside braking zone coming into Ravazza 1, and Gallo does have to yield. And important for Gallo as well that he does, because if he tried to contest Ravazza 2, A, it's probably not going to work very well, and B, it's going to absolutely murder his chances of actually making an overtake by the time they hit Tamburello. As they come through turn 1, just back there a second ago, amazing turn. Boats is getting involved though, who's gotten very much the better of that. Gallo, even with a bit of a tow, not able to hold on to Kitching as much as Boats was able to attack back at Gallo, so he did have to take a slightly defensive line. Subsequently, any thoughts of attacking are gone, and it is purely defensive for him at the moment. Corey Sweet saying it's good to see the Nissan competitive again, and you are bang on. A Nissan in first and third is a sight to behold. Oof. So we cut back to a little bit of a fight here with Bubnow and Thornton. Thornton was the Aston that we saw running quite slow on the restart lap. So not sure what happened there. Maybe just a couple of wheels in the dirt or gone slightly offline. So he'll be trying to get some positions back. But for the moment, he's got to try and get past Bubnow. He runs very, very wide.
That's got to be a warning. The problem for them now is that, excuse me, they've got Zach James in front, and he was the Jag that got absolutely ruined on that lap 1 incident that caused the safety car. So probably won't be too long and they'll be past him unless he defends for his life. But I think Bubnow's got to worry about Thornton first, because I have a feeling that, yep, he might not catch James in time to keep Thornton behind.
Yeah, Zachary James obviously feeling like the car still has a bit of pace behind it. That, or because it's only a 20-minute race, thinks he can stick it out. But you can see from a distance that that hood has slightly unhinged and wants to give the windshield a high five.
Maybe he's found a way to get a little bit of extra cooling into the engine. Just to open up a gap in the bonnet, but certainly not working as the designers intended. Question will be, Bubnow behind, how much is he able to capitalise? So he was coming out through the Ravazza as a fair way behind. So he's closed the gaps under brake, as you saw in the background. Yes. Thornton. Let's get another quick look at that. 15 seconds might have been slightly too much, but...
Got to hand it for Thornton. He knew that nothing good was going to come of that, so he's pulled himself right off the track to avoid a collision there.
Yeah, I think many of us have been there, and that is the right decision. Even if he could pull it up, it wasn't going to be a pretty sight. And a penalty costs you quite dearly here, especially in these short races. It's very hard to work off even a 5-second penalty. Big impact. A bit further down the order and actually... Oh, okay.
As we just see Green get a little bit sideways coming through Aka Minerali. It's coming a little bit too hot and lost the rear of the car.
So
No damage, no collisions, which is a good thing. He gets back on track.
Yeah,
Tries to get back on track.
Off the racing line, as we actually see in the background. And it, oh goodness. Okay, that's a bit scrappy of that NSX back there. But one David McNulty has actually got himself up, because we did say, I think he was in about P30 out of qualifying, up in P24 at the moment. It's a big old bank of cars behind, so it is a good scrap all the way down the order. He was under heavy pressure from Neil Wood just before. For the moment, holds his nerve, holds his position. Sasana up the front is having a run, and it looks like Ryan Green has had an incident at some point, as he is flooring down the order. He is the Lamborghini that we did see going sideways. And
Yeah, I actually feel... Oh, yeah, go on.
No, I think we're about to... We might be able to see a moment here as we go 2 by 2 they go. Do they sort themselves out into single file? They do. With Green and Lamb holding at 26 and 27. And McLaughlin and Villanueva falling back. So, maybe sensible. Just to not push your limits too much there, I think.
What happened there, Malik, is... Excuse me. He was the BMW that was involved in the initial pile-up on lap 1 and got hit a fair few times and got damaged, so I do believe he just teleported back to the pits.
Yeah, and he's been in the pits ever since. I think it'd be pretty impossible to recover much of a position after that relatively short race. So I hope to see him in race 2, but yeah, unfortunate. It's going to be a kid like that. So Kitching now. See, just about takes about as much track as he can. Really on him to get the power down early, and it doesn't look like he's quite able to keep up with the Nissan there. So you'd have to say, coming into Tamburello, this is not likely to be an attacking opportunity, more of a gap closer. But he has to be so careful of those anti-cut curbs. And cannot be lured into following Reynolds' line, because that Nissan will be able to do things that the Lamborghini can only dream of. In some ways, just taking curbs like a madman.
Oh, that rear end of that Lambo is not looking all that stable. It's just... I haven't driven it too much on this BOP. I drove it the other day around Silverstone or something, and it's not what it used to be. It's a lot better on aggressive setup. It's much easier to drive, but once you've got a bit of wear on those tyres, you've really got to manage the rears, because things like that will happen, for say. So Kitching, as we know, is a talented driver. Has come up from AM, I believe, within 3 rounds. I could be wrong, but really knows how to wheel that Lambo, and hopefully he can deal with that rear end instability due to the tyre wear. And he's going to have pressure from Gallo as well, so that's not going to help him at all.
I noticed through Tosa that he was trying to hold second and when the car kicked around. Now, is that to try and get him some more stability in the rear end? To hold a higher gear and keep the car a bit more stable? Or is that more him chasing pace and risking that stability to get a better exit?
I'd say probably something to do with not letting the wheels spin up as well. That's probably one of the reasons. I think it's more just short shifting to second might get him the better exit, but probably just didn't anticipate the rear coming as far around as it did, so it's just put him back from Reynolds a little bit. He's a second off now. Sinikas is 1.5 off Madison, and Reynolds is 5.2 off him. So fairly close from Keane and back in the pack. Nichols up to P11 in that Jag. What an effort there. Who else is moving up at the moment? As you did say, David Bender McNulty is up into 22nd, so that's 8, might be 7 actually. 7 or 8 positions.
2 more positions since we last checked in with him.
Yeah, that's good stuff from him. Really showing how strong the Merc is around here. I think one of the worst less faster, worst, whatever you want to call it, cars around here is probably the Jag, even though from what I've heard, Imola is the Jag's best track. Also, the Porsche, unless you're Philippa Bokita, we'll just ignore that. And probably the Honda as well. And I know from experience that thing is just something else to drive, and you really got to just bring every bit of pace you can find out of it. and yet you can still be 5/10 off the pace at your absolute max. So they're in for a long night, I think, those teams. What is this? What? I thought there was going to be an incident there. A train of 4 cars behind Bender.
Yeah, I jumped down to see where he was going and my eyes half popped out of my head. I did not expect to see that heavier contest, but it looks like we've been missing some almighty scraps.
Yeah, this is Phillips, who's just gotten past Neil Wood, who's now under pressure from Maddie Lamb.
I think you're going to see Lamb fall back here. At Vivatsa 2, I noticed he put a couple of wheels on the dirt on the outside. So that's Michael Manns behind him. He'll be keen to try and grab a position coming into Tamburello, and he might just have a chance. Actually, it looks like he backs off and decides not to, but promising signs.
Yeah, the Audi looked like it was going to go a little wide there. It's a little bit tricky through those first 3 turns, the Audi, but after that, you're sorted for most of the, other than the chicane, because it's a bit of a pain around there, but looks like Neil is just trying to pull away from Lamb. So Phillips has already pulled out a gap, even though going wide around the hairpin. As we move up, here's Matt Keane, who I think I read in chat. He's up 10 spots, so that's a very, very good effort up into the top 10. That would put him 3rd on the grid for race 2, unless Lockie Nichols has got something to say about it, and so does Steve Lewis. I think we're coming up to the final lap, though.
Be close. So the leaders just crossed the start-finish line a moment ago. They may have enough time. I suspect that they will, actually. Actually,
yes, you're right. Yeah, they will.
Yeah, Keane might want to let off the throttle here and get that P12 for the pole position race start. That's smart, yeah?
Ooh.
Great to maximise points.
Depends. Lap 1 race 2, as we know, is, what's the word, not usually the cleanest.
Yeah, I think there'll be a bit of a question afterwards as to where you'd rather be for the moment. Keane, I think, just looking to close it up. I noticed Lewis back at Variante Alta got a fair bit sideways, and it's taken him all of that time to really try and reclose that gap. And I'd say it's based on what I caught in the back of my eye, corner of my eyes there at Villeneuve, that Lewis is just struggling a bit for lateral grip and has fallen right back. So this is kind of a 2-horse race now, but let's have a little bit of a look here. It's going to be down to the wire as to whether or not they do get another lap or not.
Let's see, 20 seconds there. I reckon they will, just maybe. Madison's probably got the gap to lift off. Let's see, it's going to be close. It's going to be down to the final seconds.
Have a look one way or another.
I think that's going to be it.
Yeah, Madison doesn't quite have to lift off.
Oh, he nearly had it. That was well done. Well done, Madison. I think that's
all race.
First win of the season,
Yeah,
I dare say.
well,
I'll check that for you and I'll get back to you.
Please do.
Kitching in the end finishes 4th, so does drop 1 position off his starting place, but he still, I think, will be reasonably happy with that. Rounding out our top 12 will be Steve Lewis, who was just struggling a little bit there and has fallen back a bit from Nichols, but still sets himself up for a nice P1 next race. Bub now crossing the line. He was on a bit of a recovery, I think, in the end at P16. Bender McNulty has put himself up into 21st from a start around 30th.
He needed that. He hasn't had the best start to the season. He's been a little bit quiet for some races, and other races been a little bit unlucky. So yeah, fantastic performance by David Bender McNulty. Also, it is Sean Madison's first win of the season, 2nd podium of the season as well.
Yes, his other one being at Bathurst last week. So, very good effort from him. Well done on his first win. That was a stellar drive from the start. Took every opportunity in hand. Got the whole shot on the start from Sinikas and then fooled him again on the start. Just caught him napping. I think that's what counted for him there.
It's a very respectable all round as we move straight into qualifying 2. So for new players to this one, the top 12 from the previous race will not qualify. They will start in a reverse grid order. Everyone else gets a second run at qualifying, so it's a good opportunity if you're maybe John Sinakis, who was involved in a big old collision early. That's an opportunity to get back up further in the grid than what you might otherwise have been. And hopefully makes things a little bit more stable. So that's what we'll look for here now. Let's get back on this one. I saw car 74, who is Laurie McLaughlin, has gotten himself out well and truly first. Wants pride of place. Wants to be the car to watch.
I think he just wants us to look at the Jag.
Might be. As we see Benders making alts to join into the chat, apparently. Or at least that's the accusation.
I know we said that our bonnet camera for the Mercedes looks like a Stingray, but the front of the Jaguar also looks like a Stingray. Just the mouth. That's what the Jaguar is saying.
Yeah.
It's like, hello. Let me eat up all that slipstream.
It just looks like moderately unhappy to be there.
Yes.
Do I have to?
Like, I don't want to be here. Oh.
Fine. I did see there is a word for it. If someone wants to get themselves a bend effect, then they can find the word that describes when people try and personify or humanify or whatnot inanimate objects. Right, so we see a face in the front of a car.
Oh, I know the word you're thinking of, and I can't think of it. As Sam Bugden's put the face in chat that we, the front of the Jag looks like. It's the D down sad face with the capital D. That's pretty much what it looks like. That's smack bang on there, Sam. Well done.
Yeah, or is it the grimace face?
Are you thinking of personification?
I guess I feel like there's a different word.
No, that's giving an object human characteristics.
Why don't we use the internet that has a wealth of knowledge?
Anthropomorphism?
At our fingertips.
Well, I mean, I guess.
I could, but like, I'm commentating qualifying, Braden.
We've got 2 votes, Braden, for anthropomorphism.
Oh, dead. Yeah, bye.
Oh, that's going to hurt. And that's going to hurt bad as well because he's had his outlap.
He clearly didn't like the front of the car like we did. Jesus.
Mate, send it back to the pits. You are way too damaged.
Oh, no.
Yeah,
just get off the track.
Not a lot of time.
If he goes back to the pits, he's got enough time for an outlap of 2 flyers.
Maybe 2 flyers.
I had a very similar thing happen to me last night, and I was left with an outlap and 2 flyers. Got a little bit tangled on my first flyer, and then my second flyer was just my own fault. I invalidated. But yeah, I was left with no time after qualifying. I started at the back of the pack. Yeah, especially with damage, send it back. Don't spend time driving.
You have
all
to.
the way back.
Even if you're only going to get in 1 lap, go, because you're not going to get in a good lap with. That's probably what 10, 15 probably seconds of damage. You can't do a good time with that.
Yeah, coming from someone who did all of race 2 from the start with 19 seconds worth of damage.
Yeah,
good.
Well done.
It's not good. And Roudus has said paraidolia? Paraidolia, that's how I'm going to pronounce it at least, is what he's suggesting is the inanimate object.
Paraidolia.
Yeah, so we'll check that and see if you get the Bender Facts Award for the night until Bender comes in later, and he might take it from you. So you're going to have to stay to the end to defend your title. That's just
cool. So pareidolia. That's not an easy word to say, Jesus. The tendency to perceive a specific, often meaningful image in a random or ambiguous visual pattern. The scientific explanation for some people is pareidolia. I'm just going to skim over that word so you can't really hear if I'm saying it wrong or right. Or the human ability to see shapes or make pictures out of randomness. So I think that's hit the nail right on the head.
Is it randomness though?
I was going to say, it's not randomness, it's just a revolting Jaguar.
Right, because that would be like seeing objects in clouds. Will be that. I don't know. It might be. It might be.
I'm going to run with it.
Okay.
This is taking up too much of our time.
From our serious conversations. All right, so let's get this basic held up. It's time for a couple of laps here. And we're seeing Michael Manns, who's already a second up on his last one, but that would have been his first full fly. So at the moment, a 1:44.8 is where he stands. He's got some more time in the bag as we see him pull another 3, make that 4 tenths or thereabout while I've been yammering. Can he make some good gains without invalidating through Variante Alta? I would suggest that that was a little bit safe. He was taking it there because he's been making big improvements, but that is one opportunity to absolutely invalidate your lap. And given it is so late in the lap, he might just want to secure it rather than push for a couple more tenths.
There's one more corner, being the last corner, where you can absolutely destroy a lap, and that's by touching the sand on exit.
It's 4, 5, 6 tenths with ease, and he is right up behind another car, which I think into Ravazza 1 might have spooked him a tiny bit, but still 1.4 second jump up to 6th place, misses 5th by 6 thousandths of a second, but there's been a whole bunch of other cars who've all jumped him in the meantime. Neil Wood's about to finish his lap, just as we caught it there through Ravazza 1. Didn't quite get the exit that he did previously, and indeed Ravazza 2 not quite so much, but still a 4/10th gain for him will jump him a couple of positions around Sassana or thereabouts. Further up the grid, Phillips 3 tenths up. He's only in what he's about to cross into sector 3 now. What? Right now, to be technically correct, I suppose. Through Aqua Minerale. A little bit tentative. There's a little bit more road available for him, but he got a little bit more of a gain compared to his previous flyer, so that's good news. Indeed, the current pace that he's got would be enough for this qualifying pole, which would mean 13th in the next race. It's about as high as he can get to. I can tell you, though, that Siberius and Lamb as well are on 3 or 4 tenths gain themselves, so the bar gets ever higher. Big gain coming into Ravazza 1. But it's the exit that is make or break, as Braden said. Looks like his exit wasn't quite as good as he'd like, as I could see car 840. I'm pretty sure that's Michael Manns. He has had a bit of an off at Variante Alta, so his qualifying will be done. Matthew
Phillips takes provisional P13 just shy 2 hundredths from Siberius, as we see Lamb coming across 4 tenths. The gain that will put him into P13. Siberius answers straight away with a 41.5.
I'm just flipping through to see if there's anyone else still left to make gains. Maybe Bateman, about 6.5 up. It's good for a few positions. A couple of cars just coming into the pits. Their laps are over. That's a solid gain. Ferguson, I think he's already completed his lap, so at the moment he's just doing a bit of practice. So I'm not sure who else is left to go. To be Joey Gutierrez, and then just behind him will be Laurie McLaughlin, who at the moment has actually not set a time. He was the man we saw out the front, so I think he did eventually take it to the pits, but he took it too late. Now, Gutierrez will cross the line, gain a couple of tenths. I don't think it's enough to gain him a position, unfortunately. As for Laurie McLaughlin, he's going to have to do it in one. So one single flyer. Where can it get him? Comes across for a 1:44.1. Takes P18. So, and that's with a single flyer. So, based on where we saw some of the other guys on their one flying lap, could have been some big things for him. These guys are actually still on valid laps, and Shafley is going to be the big winner if he can pull this off. 3.5 tenths didn't, again, not quite the exit that like out of the final corner, but 3 tenths the gain. That is a big old whack of positions, and jumps himself to P6, so 13th to 6th by 3 tenths. You can see that down the order. Ryan Green and Mitchell separated by almost nothing. McNulty, Ferguson, very, very tight order. So really impressive there, and that won't work for me. So, by the looks of that, I think it's going to be a punchy old race, this next one.
Yeah. Who's starting P1? I think it's No, not Villanueva. Steve Lewis, I do believe, starting from P1. Then it's Lockie Nichols in the Jag, and then it's who finished P10? I should be able to remember. Thornton. Was it Thornton? I can't remember, but whoever it was starting P3. I think it was an Aston. So I think we're in for a bit of a tasty battle, having Lewis starting from the front and then having Sabira starting behind Madison and Sneakers. So I think it's got the potential for pure good stuff into turn one. Probably fairly clean, I'm guessing, just on the basis of the slower-ish drivers being at the front, probably wanting to be a little bit more cautious, and hopefully the other drivers will respect that. So I'd say we're looking for a pretty good start.
Well,
We've just got Bokita pointing out that there's going to be a 12-kilometer tailwind coming into turn one.
yeah, it's turn one is the dicey one. And so the question is, would you want to be starting on the left or the right-hand side as we come through? Yeah, ignoring the fact that P1 starts on the left and P2 starts on the right. You want inside or outside for Tamburello?
I'd want inside. Those curbs on the left-hand side aren't quite as dangerous as the curbs on the right at turn 2, or turn 3, I suppose. And I feel like you kind of want to be on that side of the track. If you're still side by side with someone, you kind of want to be on that side of the track once you get to 5 and 6.
Interesting. Hobbsy, are you of the same view?
I could see the benefits of both. I think maybe for race 1 you want to be inside, maybe race 2 outside, on the basis of if someone dives down the inside you can go off into the dirt if you think you're going to be hit.
Yeah, that's what goes through my mind. See, that's why Braden has the drive to win, right? He wants the best racing line. I'm just sitting here like, if something goes down, where's the safest place to be? And I feel like on the right-hand side, as you say, I can get out onto the gravel and I'll just cut across and I'll survive.
Yeah, look, I do like going fast. Since I got my CSL Elites, I haven't hooked up the brake pedal yet.
Oh, yeah. I'd advise that.
I've still got brakes mapped to my microphone, so I have to scream into my microphone if I want to slow down.
What's that Jimmy Barnes meme?
He's in his microphone as he brakes.
If
That's usually what it's like when I'm trying to slow the car down coming into a corner.
If someone can get that Jimmy Barnes clip and just do an
overlay
of, you know, Braden as he does
into
Monza or something like that, just overlay cars braking into the chicanes at Monza, that would be amazing. I've got a beautiful image in my head right now.
Well, it's easier for trail braking because I just get a little bit quieter if I want to let off the brakes.
You just go from
Oh, it's because the pitch increases each time, right? So the first one is just when you're on your own. Second one, there's another car beside, and by the final high, it's what we're about to see. It's a Tamburello.
You see someone bin it like 2 seconds down the road, and you scream, and then you just brake suddenly on a straight. That's going to cause a lot of issues.
Yeah, look, when I'm navigating through traffic of a wreckage and there's multiple cars involved.
What is this absolute? Close this gap up, people.
Yeah, close it up. Screw that noise. No more of that.
No.
Yeah, let's look at the people that are doing it right.
Yeah,
First 5 rows look good.
Yeah.
Now, they do get a bit of extra time here because it won't be until P13 crosses the line that we go green, but we are very close. Hobbsy, you want it?
Yep, game on. Here we go. Lewis on the front row with Nichols and Keane with green. Oh, Keane had a good start but had to get off because Lewis made a right mess at the start there. Robert Shaw really that's 3 wide. I don't want to see that after last night. Oh, no, no. Oh, Audi tap, Nissan dead. Oh, why
Yeah,
me?
safety
Why?
car.
Why?
Safety car, thank you very much.
Why?
We'll see you at the next
Why
race
was it
start.
me? What? Oh my god.
Was that a Jimmy
Oh,
Barnes? Was that a Jimmy Barnes scream 1, 2, 3, or 4?
I
just not enough, really.
That was. Can we go back and analyze what the bloody hell just happened there? That was something
even wanna
else. So probably jump up to that Nissan in front maybe, because it's the Audi that gets tapped. I can't exactly remember who it was. Maybe it was this Nissan. So let's just wait and see. So this is the start. Keen got a little bit halted up by Lewis on the start. To Nichols on the outside. Let's see what happens. The Audi went for the inside, and Lambo tapped the Nissan as well. Yeah.
Yeah, Lambo got a little bit checked up there. Just forced a chain reaction. A few people just not as efficient on the Jimmy Barnes as they should have been.
You guys can't hear it, but I had the Jimmy Barnes screaming cowboy clip through that. Just cracking myself up.
Just here's the tap. Ah,
I enjoyed that. I enjoyed that a lot.
I'm thinking of changing from the Jimmy Barnes screen to
no.
you know those rubber chickens?
Sorry,
those...
Chad could hear it, but Braden and Hobbsy could not hear it. So they were taking it seriously. I was just giggling away. I don't know how you can clip in YouTube, but it actually worked for it. I'm gonna keep it banked up for next time.
Surely someone's got instant replay shadow play set up.
Yeah, something like
That'll
that.
do for now.
Oh, it was a good moment. The fact that you guys commentated over the top of it just made it all more beautiful.
I can only imagine. I'm so sad I missed out, but I'm also glad that I missed out so the commentating was there.
Commentating over Jimmy Barnes just screaming.
We might get more used to that later. We'll see. Anyway,
if I cause carnage on the restart, I'm sorry. That's not my fault. Just blame something else. It's just.
It was all a setup to be able to play the clip.
Oh, it must. Every time I call it, there's always some sort of death, and I just. Is this rigged? Has someone rigged this? Is this all set up?
Well, I think there was that premonition that with the 12k an hour tailwind as well, it just makes it all the more challenging. But it's the nature of Tamburello. You know, you've got a braking zone that is on a curve. So, you know, even as we've all done this on our optimal line, you're starting on the left, you're braking all the way to the right end of the track and then cutting across left. It is so difficult for multiple cars to go side by side there at pace because that braking line is taking you wide into a very tight chicane. It is a very difficult hot lapping track. As a racetrack, just so risky. I think it's one of the reasons why Imola is probably one of those historical tracks that has an aspect that you just wouldn't put in a modern track because it's difficult to do it safe, but it's part of the charm as well.
Yeah, that's right. I think we're gonna go for a restart here. Oh gosh, I am sorry in advance if this goes very wrong. But anyway, so it's Nichols, P1, got past Lewis, and he's away already. He's caught him napping too. He's done a Madison. And let's see if Keane can take advantage. They've really pulled away from P4. I don't know what happened there. So we're back now. Let's see what the gap is. Wow, that's very, very big gap already. Nichols is through. It's Robert Shaw behind. Here's Bub now. Never mind. That's Jag on the inside of the Audi. I think that's Zach James on the inside of Desai. All fairly clean. Oh, could go too wide into turn 4. I wouldn't recommend it. I think that must be Honor, who's dropped back a few positions on Lamb. He's Sabiras now on his teammate, who's got Villanueva behind him as well, and Phillips there. So I've just only noticed that both Madison and Sanikas are right down in the order now because of that lap 1 incident. So their chances of a top 10 are over. So just going to do the best now. As we see 2 Astons going at it, trying to just pull each other up to Honor, who look. Oh no, Madison's there. I'm blind. Excuse me. Ignore me. I just didn't see his name. I'm stupid.
I am stupid.
Yes, I am stupid.
Oh, well. So a good, reasonably clean, at least from what we can see, lap 1. Touch wood as we get close to the end of said lap. Up the front, as you said, Lachlan Nichols has gotten himself a bit of a gap from Steve Lewis, who's got Keane behind him, but that's a fair bit of a gap. I would suggest that Bentley's got the legs, and even with a bit of a tow, Keane is going to struggle to close that one up on this lap. However, Madison, who you have been foreshadowing, is having a run on Gallo on the outside, as we can see as well. Robert Shaw having a run on Britt. Robert Shaw's looks a little bit more served, but Britt really pushes him heavily to the curbs, and I think Robert Shaw as well had just tried to carry a bit too much pace, ran himself well wide, and in the end, that opportunity has not turned into a position change. And I suspect it's also backed some of the cars behind them into them a touch more as well, because what was probably a pair of 2x2s is now a long chain of cars.
Madison's just right on the back of Gallo at the moment. Excuse me, I think he's going to get past, but he's going to have the pressure from Honor behind. But I think Gallo's going to start to put the pressure on Robert Shaw now, so it's just going to be a case of who can defend to the defend. Ooh, a bit of a touch of the dirt there by, I think that was Robert Shaw. It was the car in front, which is Britt. Now there's just a train of 6 cars at the moment. That's not something you see every day at Imola. Let's see what Madison can do to close in on Gallo. He's got the pace to get past. He's just got to be patient. Maybe let him attack Robert Shaw first and maybe try and take advantage of that, get past them both in the space of half a lap to a lap, which is the ideal scenario, but it is Imola.
See it here as Madison looks to go around the outside. Gallo taking to the inside. And with that turn in, does kind of cut him off. Compromised himself a little bit, which is, I think, the most that Madison could really hope for there. I mean, he could hope for more, but...
Yeah, I'm not too sure that was exactly his intentions there. I think he was expecting a little bit better of an exit coming through turn 1. Is it turn 1 or turn 2? Because in my eyes, that's turn 1.
Well, it's not. I believe it's actually turn 2.
It is turn 2. Turn 1 is
that stupid kink. Yeah, let's not go there.
It's the kink
Yeah,
just past the start-finish line.
It's a Red Bull ring all over again.
Oh, it's the one at the start-finish line? Oh, even better.
And I think looking at the track map, it's because in some configurations there's actually another kind of bit of a turn there. That's the best guess that I've got.
I'm not even going to try and fight that.
So
realistically, clean turn 1 all week.
Yes. Yeah, we haven't seen any incidents there yet.
Turn 2, disaster.
There's still time. Turn 2 is certainly the challenge. So Britt, I did notice, because he was getting very punchy on Keane and was making a few moves on him, but that exit at Alta has probably put that to rest right now. Let's get a look and see whether or not Keane is just going to walk away from him or whether or not he can stay in, because when these Ferraris get a tow, it's actually quite significant. That chassis in general generates quite a lot of downforce. So the tow kind of helps them out.
Oh, so late on the brakes there. That's lost him a lot of time, though. He was really going balls to the walls there, but I don't think that was the right time to do it. You've really got to time your attacks while here.
See a drive-through picked up by Desai. I'm not sure if that's for an incident or if that is already a track limits. I suspect
I'd say it's a
incident.
track limits.
I didn't see so, but you may well be right.
Yeah, that's very early on for a track limit warning.
Oh, mate. Unless he was the Audi that got tut round into turn 1 for the safety car, which it could be. Someone can get us an update on what that's for.
Could be. Incident. This is Cam Farmer. I did hear the race control, which is working tonight, which is fantastic. Did ping away, so there you go. Asked and answered. So we're sitting inside Adrian Ferguson's mind right now. He's got a 2.8 second gap to Hemi Bateman behind. And he's just, I think, lurking and looking for opportunities here. You can see Bub now showing the nose, seeing if anything's going. Unlikely.
Oh, that's a warning and a half there. If it's not,
Absolutely.
that's rigged.
He lost a fair bit of pace, so he might have lifted enough that he didn't really gain out of it. But it was very well wide, that is for sure. Car looks reasonably composed, does Ferguson. So, keeping on and off throttle looked pretty smooth to me. It's been called. If the Jag wins, then in round 6, everyone has to use it. So, for Jag.
Promoted.
Oh, as we
Oh.
see Ferguson
Oh,
take too
no.
much curb. Oh, and that's
That's a very dicey rejoin as well.
there's no. You have to run on the grass for a long time, actually. I think to get a clean one there, but it comes through relatively safely. So we move forward. So for Sneakus and Hemi Bateman, that's an easy
Ferguson
position
still
that they will take.
It's squiggly. Obviously, a bit of the slippery grass still on the tyres.
Yeah, look, it's that, and probably the tyres are what we like to call a bit warm, I'm thinking.
This is a good point by Neil Alexander. There's a little bit of drizzle coming.
Oh, the question is, will that reach us before the end of the race?
Oh,
Oh, no! Oh, what happened there? Is that John? Oh,
That's Sneakus.
no.
Let's Baguette.
Let's see what
Did
happened
happen
there.
there. So
Oh, he's rear on the curb. Oh, you hate to see that.
and then I think he's actually intentionally pulled it off to the right to say, I'm struggling to hold this together and these guys are coming through with pace. I'm going to be a big old hazard in a second. Unfortunately, it's also kind of crunched on that front right, so might be suspension damage. So we will see. This run here up at the front, this Keen, Britt, Robert Shaw, Gallo and Madison pack, all pretty much staying together. Now is this a... I would say that's a double Ferrari sandwich, where the Nissans are bred, the Ferraris are the subject of the sandwich, and
the Aston
Astons
Martin's the
just-
lettuce.
Yeah, which, you know, you don't...
This is
you
what we
wouldn't
like to
that.
call a big Ferrari sandwich.
Yeah, so it's a Ferrari sandwich, but the Aston is the middle bun that you get in a Big Mac.
I guess
Oh,
so.
Madison, hold on. Oh, he always had to touch the dirt, squeezed to the outside a little bit there by Gallo. He's going to look for the switch back. I have been told by Madison that the Nissan is very good through that turn. Which name was it? Piratella? I can't remember. It's one of
Piratella?
them. Yeah.
Yep.
The double left-hander. It's very good through there. It can go about 10, sometimes if you're lucky, 15 k's an hour. They're through there quicker than every other car. It is just unbelievable through that one section. The rest of the track,
Now this is looking ominous to me. These cars are getting very, very close together. And when we see multiple cars coming together at Tamburello, we see the safety car driver rev up the engine and get ready to go. At this point, you have to say it would have to be one hell of an incident for that to be likely, but It's a tricky one. So here we go. Madison lurking. Gallo, a bit of defending. Ultimately picks kind of middling line. Oh, Madison gets a little bit loose on the exit. And in the background there you can see Honor struggling a little bit against Lamb. Lamb determines it is not the time to go. Up the front, I can see Madison doing a little bit of a switcheroo on Gallo. No, that's Britt.
That's Britt and Keane.
Yeah.
They're having a good battle. Looks like Honor, much to the disgust of Madison's, actually bringing up those two Astons of Lamb and Sabura. So I think Madison might be in a little bit of trouble at the moment, but he does have Gallo to get past, and I reckon if he gets past Gallo, that's going to open the floodgates for Madison, and he's going to run away with this, and Gallo's going to have to defend for his life as he makes a mistake. Ooh, that's going to be bad. Is Madison going to make it too wide into the chicane? I really hope for his sake he doesn't. Oh, he does. Oh, can he get it done? Oh, he forces the mistake from Gallo, but Gallo saves it. What a save there. And they've lost a lot of time now to Robert Shaw and Britt, so... Oh,
Actually,
they still might pull away, though.
I want to go and watch this again, because I'm worried about Honor, I think it is. Oh, okay, so nothing serious there. From the camera angle, and the way he was cutting across, I wondered whether or not the McLaren got tangled on that. And he did not, so everything is nice and safe. This time, though, I think Gallo's going to have a much harder time defending.
So Gallo has just picked up a 15-second time penalty as well.
Ooh.
So there's a little bit more work to do than just defending as he loses the position to Sean Madison.
15
Sean Madison
seconds.
climbs up to
Whoa.
P6.
That
It's
is
a
not
fat
what we
penalty.
like to see. That is huge. So that's not what you want to see, but Madison's got through now, and now Robert Shaw's next. I think this has opened the floodgates, and now Gallo's in a lot of trouble. He's got Honor and those two Aston, well, one Aston now. The other one's disappeared for some reason. Don't know exactly what's happened. Saburas has dropped back a bit. Might have been a bit of a touch in the dirt there, but no matter. Madison, he's looking for that top 5. I don't think he's going to get too much
Use
further.
all of the track plus a little bit more, Madison. Go for it.
Yeah, he can. He's got 22 minutes, and he might not be on any track warnings, so he can probably start to maybe just use up a warning or two. But I wouldn't go any further just yet.
Now I'm just keeping an eye as well, and we won't get there, but the 30-minute forecast is for higher rain than what we previously saw on that. So when the rain does come, it's going to come in and ramp up very quickly. The question is, will it come before the end of the race? What is that going to look like? These last laps.
Yeah, and if it
reckon
does
it's
come
gonna
to
be
the end of the
closed.
race, if it does come before the end of the race, will we see anyone hit for wets? Because I don't think so.
No.
I think all of these drivers are going to stick it out.
It's interesting because on this BOP, as soon as it, starts to rain and gets a little bit wet, you've got to be on the wets. So it's a tough call as Madison looks to the outside. Maybe might go a bit later on the brakes, and can he get through? Don't turn in on Robert Shaw. Oh, gets a bit of a tap. Nearly Hamilton's himself, and now Gallo's back in it. Wow, this is close. He's been just slowly working his way back up as we see Britt and Keane there going at it once again, but I think Britt's going to have this one. And Steve Lewis is only 4/10 off Nichols now, so he's right back in it. That's Madison there making a mistake.
We'll cut back. There's battles all over, actually. It's very difficult to stay on top of which is the one to watch. As you said,
Where's
though...
Bender?
It's a good question.
Bender.
Oh, he's not bad.
Yeah,
He's not bad.
Where the hell is Bender?
You guys tell me what position you think he's in without looking, and I'll let you know.
26.
No?
I'd say 29th.
Space Dog was closest without going over. He's 24th. He was just off the cutoff for what we'd see
Yeah,
here.
but if we snap over to him, he'll run a little bit wide and lose 2 positions.
It's possible. It's possible.
Maybe.
But no, he's on a good run, and he'll be licking his lips at the opportunity for just a little bit of rain at the end. That's oh no, oh no, oh, no.
That's a great save. Can we go on board with that? That's fantastic.
That was Michael
Mans.
Mans.
have to do helmet cam so that we can see the wheel.
Yeah, premium.
What a save.
Look at that. Hold on, Malcolm
Condotings
Means.
occurred there. Wow.
Very smooth. Does lose a position. I thought for a moment we were about to curse him with just a sideways Nissan into his vehicle, but not to be. He is on a good run and he is waiting for his time to pounce. Let's jump up here and see if there's been any more overtakes in this last moment. A Jag still leads. Britt has been holding off Keane for a while now. Indeed, Keane has fallen back a touch. And Madison is hounding the back of Robert Shaw, so all is as it should be. Villanova, I can see right on top of Lamb. Has to bide his time as they come up into Piratella. We'll see a little bit later, maybe that's his chance. There's a few more around as well. I know Simon Phillips is got Zach James pursuing him. Has managed to get a little bit more of a gap. Shafley has Ferguson on his rear end. That does look tight. And you can see in the background, actually, just as we catch that is Hemi Bateman running wide, losing 2 positions, maybe 3 positions. So Reynolds, Bub now, and now Boats sneaking through. Boats only just sneaking through. And it might have been a tap there, or it was my computer lagging for a half second. It's very hard to tell.
I don't think there was contact. It was super close, though.
It was indeed.
I had a little bit of a Coke Brown moment here at home. But yeah, they've gotten away safely. Shafely. Very shafely.
And Hemi Bateman runs wide again. So, doesn't seem to be feeling super comfortable. We've just seen a couple of incidents there where he's gone too deep under brakes. Not able to pull the anchors up in time, and it's gone a bit sideways. So, we'll see what happens. We jump back up. Sibirus is falling behind, but Gallo almost collects the back of Madison. He's desperately trying to mitigate the 15-second damage that he's currently carrying.
Yeah, I don't think Madison was expecting to still be in this fight with Gallows. They're going side by side. They won't let up. Madison's going to have the inside line coming into Piratella. Makes it shtick, but he's run a little bit wide again. Might be another track warning. He's going to be skating on thin ice.
You're not wrong. Of course, Gallo and Madison were involved in a fair bit of a battle in the previous race. As I can see, car 74 is off. Who is that? I cannot see it. It's Larry
That's McLaughlin.
He's just found his way back on, so I'm not exactly sure what's happened, but he's maybe just stopping to pick some dandelions before he continues on with his race. Oh, this might be a half opportunity for Lewis. I'm not sure if you caught it, you guys saw it as well, but Nichols just got a little bit too loose at the end of Ravazza. So he won't get the power down the way he'd quite like, but his gap to Lewis looks to be well and truly enough to hold him off for this lap at least. As Britt enters the scene. I think this 2-car battle is turning into a 3-car battle real quickly. Britt might be sniffing an opportunity. So we've got a bit of a gap yet. Oh, sorry, go ahead.
Yeah, if Lewis doesn't hold off Britt, I think Nichols is in trouble. So I think Nichols really needs to just try and pull a decent gap to Lewis now, because he's in the danger zone, because I don't think Lewis has got the pace to catch Nichols, but Britt definitely does. So Lewis is going to have to defend for his life, but in doing so, he might be giving Nichols the win, and I'm not sure if any of us want to see a Jag win. Oh, as Lewis just makes a little bit of a mess of that chicane.
I would love to see a Jag win, especially being Nichols. Nichols has not had the greatest of seasons. He is a pacey driver. He's a very pacey driver, so a win is going to be great for him. His best result this season so far is P16, which was last week at Bathurst. So from having a best result of P16 and jumping to P1, that's pretty substantial. As we see a Beamer facing the wrong way at the exit of the chicane.
Alright, Emily Kate, avert your eyes. For the rest of us.
This might be taking a leaf out of Mullock's book here and taking a little too much sausage.
Here's Brad Shafley here. So he's hit his normal kind of brake mark.
He's
tapped.
been tapped. Is that Bub now? He's
That
tapped
is
him.
Ferguson.
Ferguson. Oh, that's tough. That's not what you like to see.
He ended up facing completely the other way. So fortunately, damage to the car looks minimal. I think the collision on the front has not really caused him much. But now, he's put himself straight into the crosshairs of the Predator. David McNulty.
The man.
And he'll be angry right now. That rain is coming. And unless
Slightly
that...
off topic.
Oh, it's not going to come in time, I don't reckon, though, for him, unfortunately.
And that, I mean, that's going to make him mad.
Yeah, that rain's been sitting at 30 minutes for quite some time.
It'll tick over to the 10, but not soon enough. What, you have something on the tip of your tongue, Braden? Spit it out.
Yeah, so a slightly off topic, but I was a bit curious. So I googled Imola meaning. So the word Imola is of Roman origin and means over there, down there. It refers to the view enjoyed by the people looking down on the inhabited zone from the valley at midday.
Oh, hold on. Oh, no. Oh, that's a tap there. Ryan Green looks like he's just made a bit of a balls up there through Aqua Mineral. Let's have a little look.
Absolutely stole the spotlight of my
Oh, wow.
fact.
Sorry, but there was death. Bang.
Oh, he's actually he's almost held it. In fact, if there was no one else around, I think he actually would have gotten it pointed straight in the end. So...
Yeah, almost looks like a carbon copy of Michael Mann's, just a little less speed being carried through the spin. And yeah, ultimately resulted in cars close behind collecting him on the way through.
That's it. Jump back up at the front again now. Nichols is still holding off Lewis. What has happened to Britt? He was third and now he is 11th. So, while we've been seeing other people, Britt has fallen behind. And looking at his car, let's just get an idea. Oh, some damage is involved to the rear in particular. So that's a fair bit of luck to the rear, to be honest. So,
Yeah, I wonder what's happened there. Oh, there's definitely something. He's definitely lit up the rears too. So there was something desperately wrong. I can't really take a punt as to where he's possibly been at. Maybe the chicane.
So Philippa has pointed out that he crashed at RNG Chicken.
RNG Chicken. Yeah, that's
very
a possible
anti-alta.
shout.
Yep. So unfortunate for him there. Hopefully he can manage it through to the end of the race. 11 minutes left to go. That rain better come soon. Or will it? So we'll almost certainly get the extra lap. But will it be in time? Just a sprinkling at the end.
You know what we need to get this rain to come in time? Time extension.
Time extension.
More
Yes.
time extensions in ACC, please.
Oh, that would be fantastic. That would actually be a lot of fun. Just
Oh, not for
knowing how
Nichols.
Not knowing
No.
how long the race is going to go.
But Aston's just run a little bit wide, Robert Shaw, so Madison's having a look on the outside. Not the greatest part of the track to be on, isn't quite the grippy spot. And now he's going to fall victim to Gallo on the inside.
Oh, he got a great exit though. Have a look at that.
Yeah,
Yeah, he gets away with that one. Lewis also sitting at 3/10 behind Nichols a little further up the track. So that down to 2.5 tenths, so that margin is closing.
Madison had to ease off the brake, or brake a little bit harder than what he would have liked there on Robert Shaw to avoid a collision. It's run him wide and make it very. It's so tough to stay tight behind the other car here.
Now, unfortunately, we've dipped below the 10 minutes to go mark in the race, and that rain cloud, that rain icon, has not switched over to that 10 minutes until.
There's another minute though. Another minute is all we need, because then at least we'll be on the extra lap, right? That's my hope. That's my prayer. If not, then it will rain harder than anticipated, with Bender's Tears to join.
Well, if it doesn't switch over by 8 minutes 20, then we're in trouble.
Yeah, but how annoyed would you be if you got 4 seconds worth of rain?
Very.
It's not what we want. We want more.
So update on Nichols and Lewis. Lewis must have had a little bit of a mistake coming through the first sector, because it's grown from 2.5 tenths all the way up to 1 second. So Nichols has a little bit of breathing space now.
Yeah, one's opening up a tiny bit. Just flicking through the order. Can see Senakis is pursuing McNulty. So Senakis has gotten past Shafley.
Leave him alone, JP.
JP's got the 10-second penalty as well. Oh, and there we go. So 10 minutes. The rain's going to come down. So with an extra lap, if it's just in time, we'll see just a touch.
Yeah, time extension. Thank you.
Will we see a please bender or an angry bender in the chat afterwards? Not certain. But he has had a good old recovery race out of both. As we see another BMW around, that is Hemi Bateman. And it's only just happened as well. Been struggling with the balance of the car, and there it is. Aqua Minerale takes another victim.
He's done a good job there, just holding the brakes. As soon as he lost control of that car, it was just straight on the brakes, and that was it. No more trying to catch it.
Yeah, you're not wrong. See, from the back of Robert Shaw, it's Madison, Gallo, and Lamb behind him. All would like his position. He'd like another one himself, actually, and that's Keane ahead, but that gap has opened up again. Now Lewis is starting to come under attack as well, I can see in P3, but for the moment, it's Madison. He's been fighting like hell for every position that he can. TV cam, please. I can indulge with a TV cam.
How about we'll trade donations for TV cam. A request is no longer enough.
I don't mind TV cam. But it does sometimes struggle to catch the action that we'd like to be able to see. So it's a mixed bag. Just see Madison again. Just needs to nail his exit. And I reckon he's going to have a run here.
We could, and he will, because the Nissan's pretty good on straight line. But does Robert Shaw have the know-how to... Yeah, he's going to go to the inside. Could... Oh, Madison go for the switchback. He's going to go later on the brakes. Oh, he's going to get Hamilton. Oh, he does. He keeps it, though, because it's a Nissan.
As we see Lamb attacking Gallo a little further back. Just has a little bit of a look, just letting Gallo know that he's there. Not pulling the trigger quite yet. Robert Shaw touches a little bit of that sand. Still under fire. Madison having a look on the inside. That was very close. He's able to pull it up though. Four-way battles getting super spicy because I don't think Gallo's done with Madison yet. Despite that 15-second penalty, the man wants to race.
I'll tell you who we feeling just that extra bit better now, and that is Lachlan Nichols. So that gap behind, might just try and catch it. Matt Keane, I mean, it's only just a tiny bit further ahead. Matt Keane is now applying heavy pressure to Steve Lewis. And in this lap alone, the gap has opened up by, I want to say, about 8 tenths between Lewis and Nichols. And Keane is getting involved. Now, right now, it looks a little bit more open than that. So we'll see what we have when we end this lap. Oh no! I just got that in the back of my eye.
Oh, Robert Shaw, no. That's not... Oh, what's he done there?
I'm not sure if there's a touch involved or if he's done this on his own. He's got Madison pursuing hard, and there's going to be a touch
Oh,
involved.
he has. Yep, that's going to be a penalty for Madison.
Yeah, that's unfortunate. It's very unfortunate for Robert Shaw. He did have the right of way through the corner to dictate that line.
Oh, I was really rooting for Madison too there, and then just one little mistake.
It's all it takes. And I'm sure there's been a number of incidents that we've not seen at that corner. It is so difficult to follow another car into reverse. So you've got a downhill braking zone. If you try and move onto the left-hand side, then you often don't have the grip that you expect. The rubber in line is on the right-hand side. And it just turns into dive bomb moments.
That Bentley is all over the place. It's a Bentley of Lewis at the moment. Getting a little bit squiggly, and he's closed that gap to Nichols as well. Nichols is not out of hot water yet. But as you said, you were rooting for Madison this race. He got the win last race. I'm all aboard the Nichols train.
I wanted him to get another podium, but you know, life and ACC and...
Oh, he'll get more. There's plenty more where that came from.
Yeah, well, yeah, that's
Nichols
true.
is in a Jaguar. He's not getting anything else after this.
Oh, no, because Jag.
Well, look, we might all be in a Jaguar next week.
Thank
if the
you.
ruling holds. We'll see.
Correct me if I'm wrong, but this will be the first Jag win of the season.
That is either an amazing premonition or a heavy commentator's curse.
Oh no, maybe Nichols is all over it, don't worry.
We'll see.
I'm just begging for it. I'm begging for it. I would actually be very unhappy with myself if it turned into a curse.
Look, to be fair, you're not the one behind the wheel, so it's not your responsibility one way or another. As we see Lamb having a run on Sibiris, and they've come to grief. And I think good work by Robert Shaw to just slam on the brakes and make sure that that doesn't turn into a much bigger incident. Oh no! Oh, Steve, no!
Oh, Steve, no.
Unfortunately, we had to cut away from the Aston sandwich.
Oh, he's been tapped by Keane. No, no. That's painful.
Oh dear.
He had that podium right in the grasp, but just that's just
Right,
what
man.
happens.
Leader is on the final lap. Give it all you can.
So we see Madison there, 15-second penalty, so Lamb will actually inherit a podium here. Unless Sibiris can get past, then he'll inherit the podium, and that's also for P1 in... No, it's not P2 in Prime. Just ignore me.
Oh dear. There's been heartbreak. There's going to be more heartbreak before we are done, I am sure.
I don't think there's words that can even describe what Lewis is feeling right now.
That was a
Sibiris
very
just
early...
running a little bit wide, touching the sand. He's going to be a little bit down on top speed coming through the straight, so he's going to be under 5 from Robert Shaw. Robert Shaw is already having a look, trying to find a way around, wants to get this job done early. He's occupying the real estate of that inside line. He's got that move done by the time he hits his braking point. And it's not over, as we see Villanueva capitalising as well, getting on the inside.
Oh, it's going to be grass for
Sibiris.
Sibiris, yeah. So,
Robert Shaw up to P6.
yeah, that's Lamb there. Just, oh, and the Bentley there gone wide as Jamie cuts away.
So I was just trying to find some battles. So that was Villanueva, running a little bit wide. It was Sibiris. This might be the tightest one because Gallo is on the back of Keane, but with Gallo having that 15-second penalty, although that battle actually between Madison and Gallo is a battle for position because they both have the same penalties.
And they're getting nice and cozy with the rear of Keane at the moment. So it is a little bit of a three-way battle that Keane doesn't want to be a part of.
That's it. There's not many more opportunities for Severus here, and Honor lurking in the background if they want to grab an extra position.
And rain increasing in half an hour. Time extension.
Oh, just
Yeah, time extension. Well,
oh,
it's no matter though. Nichols is about to cross the line
Has finished
for
race.
P1 in the Jag.
Congratulations, Nichols. You've done it, mate.
and Severus will hold off Honor. He did have a half poke at Villanova to see if he could grab a position there. Not to be. Ashland Reynolds indeed actually was almost on top of Phillips. One more lap and he would have done that. Zach James is going to come through as well in the Jag. Bub now. Oh, Bub now. That looks like an out of fuel moment. He's just trying to make it through. Fortunately, it was a car with a penalty.
No, it was not. It was Sasana. Sasana, no penalty.
Oh, no, it was too. So, he
Yeah,
does have to lose
unfortunately.
position.
Fortunately, you've been tricked by the
And he could
sector
see it.
times.
Look, the raindrops are there. His windscreen wipers are on. He knew. He knew what he's missed out. Well, actually, he won't have, because doesn't he look through this view? He doesn't
Bender's
really notice.
inherited. Yeah, you'll see it. There's drops there in pit lane. You can see all the guys on the pit wall putting their hand out underneath the shelter to see if there's rain. Yes, there is.
So Oliver Kitching is going to be the only one to do much work in the rain. Just needs to bring it home safe.
I'm surprised Bender didn't stay out just to have a bit of a cruise around in the rain. What could have been?
I think that's very close. And like the track's already gone to greasy, so that rain was coming in fast as well when it came. Yeah, no, I can't fault him. I'd be pretty angry too if it was about to start but didn't. But them's the breaks.
Yeah, Malik in chat as well saying Bender didn't stay out. What a fraud. Couldn't agree more.
Yeah. And in terms of what you were saying before, Philippa, if Keane's going to get a penalty, Lewis ended up getting the penalty for that one for turning into Keane.
Interesting. Stewart seen more than us though.
Oh, a bit of a tap there.
That's it.
But I agree. David Bender McNulty is a massive fraud.
David McFalty.
Yeah, David McFraudy. Like that's a joke.
So there you go. One last look. Race 2. It was Nichols taking the win in the Jag. The next pro class was Reynolds in the end in P9. So the Pro-Am podium went to Keane, Lamb, and then Robert Shaw and Keane and Lamb also just got the outright P2 and P3.
Yeah, it's a nice mixed bag of lollies there
And a big...
in the top 10.
And just heart goes out to those who were so close, but did not make it. Steve Lewis in particular, so close to his podium, but wasn't to be. As always, next race. Driver of the day Reynolds, says Neil Alexander. We will see, but he's certainly up there. And we're going to jump over to the next race, and I'm going to make sure that everything reconnects properly.
Green light, go, go, go.
Not a single drop of rain besides my tears as we go into qualifying.
Straight into the spicy end of qualifying as well. A minute and a half to go.
Wow, have a
Zachary
look at
Smith
that
currently
time.
leading the charge with a 1 minute 40.7. Tayo pretty closely behind by Corey Sweet, is only a tenth and a half behind.
That is a time and a half there from Smith. What a lap indeed. Baldwin's 2/10 up though. Oh, I've lost a bit of it as I say that, but that's okay.
And
Oh,
invalidates.
there it is. If he gets a move on, he could probably get round in time.
There's a half chance. That's the wrong view. That's the one that we want, the overall.
Chevy just lost a buttload of time coming through the last 2 corners. Lost about 2 tenths.
They're such killers in terms of your delta. You wouldn't think so, but boy, do they ruin your lap time. Samwise, though, up on a massive gain at the moment. Not quite sure it's going to put him, but it's going to put him, I dare say, maybe up to P6, 5. No, never. Ignore me. It was close, though. Very close there. Girardi's up 4 tenths. That's going to put him up maybe in front of Samwise. No, just below him. So close.
It's about Powell. Here we've got Carl Johnson in the Honda. Half second his gain. It's good for a big old whack of positions. That will be his last lap. That will be a number of drivers' last laps.
Yeah, possibly up to about P12, P13.
Hold our breath. P16.
Oh, how wrong I was.
Ooh. Sweet, though. He's not up. Udit Sen, though, is up 6, nearly 7 tenths. This could be a good lap. Let's watch what happens. Gets a decent... Can he just nail it through here?
Oh, look at those gains.
Oh, no.
It's not quite there, but this is front row material.
Enough. It is. Can it be enough, though? Can he get in front of Sweet? Yes, he can. It's so close. That was just a tenth there would have done it.
This is Washington. He's 3.5 tenths up. He needs more. This is good enough for 1, maybe 2 positions.
Last man out on track on a valid lap. Not quite the exit he was hoping for. He was just losing split seconds.
This will be 2 positions. I think only the one. I think he's going to be just short of Floyd. And he is 200ths of a second. So there we have it. Zach Smith takes pole. Only just pipping out Sen with Sweet and Baldwin following him up.
Welcome, JP.
Thank you.
Mate.
How are you, mate?
Very, very annoyed, but not too bad. Unfortunately.
Yeah, look, we did see after the first lap there in, I think it was race 2, did you get caught up in that massive incident there? Is that why you were so far back?
Yeah, I was second last after the first corner.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah, don't know. It's just frustrating, but not much you can do about it.
Well, we're on the back of a...
Don't happen.
Yeah, well, we're on the back of a bye, so next week take a well-earned break and then come back on the 21st and 22nd stronger, refreshed at Donington. I haven't even touched that track. I don't even know what that track looks like.
Yeah, never driven the Bentley around there, so that should be fun.
Yeah, I'm just preparing a little bit of a snack on the side, so I was just muted there. Yeah, it looked like it was a bit of a challenging race. It was a challenging race for a number of drivers, to be fair, as well, so I'm not sure how that's going to mix up the standings. Yeah.
Yeah, I think the top 3 were in the championship. Brett Reynolds and myself were all caught up in the incident, so Reynolds did the best recovery job, so I think that'll definitely help him.
Yeah, that's it. And yeah, it is a good point. Donington Park next week. Now, Donington is... I think I've done that a whole bunch of times in iRacing. I haven't done it yet much here, so... excellent track, though. A lot of fun.
Yeah, I think before I start practicing Donington, I might buy it.
That would help.
There's a bit of content that I don't own yet. I think I missed out on that 20% off sale by a little bit.
What is... I think some real... I mean, it's a very good track. A lot of fun, but we'll see. Yes, Benjamin, this is Split Red. So looking forward to some excitement here. What was your take, JP, on the fact that rain almost came, but not quite in race 2? Pleased? Unhappy?
Yeah, very unhappy. I love racing in the rain. So no, I would have loved to have some rain. That would have definitely spiced things up. But saying that, judging on how well the starts have been going, it's probably best that it didn't come.
You might be right. You might be right. I love the changing conditions when it transitions between wet and dry and dry and wet. I think that adds a lot of depth to different drivers and different cars' ability to handle those transitions.
I'm gonna see myself out just before you guys get into the thick of it, because won't be easy to say goodbye when we're coming into turn 1. So I'll do it now.
It is never easy to say goodbye to you, friend.
I bet it is. All right, see you later, guys. Have a good night.
Thank you.
Better.
All right, do you want a breather and you can pick up the next start, JP?
Yep, that's fine.
Fantastic. So, this will be a bit spicy, as they usually are, I fear. Coming into turns 1 and 2. We don't have the big old tailwind that race 2 did have from Split Blue. That 12 kilometers an hour tailwind coming into Tamburello is always a little bit tricky to deal with. And this one will be not even a tailwind, it'll be a crosswind of about 4 kilometers an hour. So, not so impactful, but really important that all of these drivers do keep it nice and tight and in a grid so that everyone is where you expect to be. It's when there's these big gaps and big oscillations, the cars tend to find themselves trying to poke holes in it. You end up with that 3 wide, 4 wide situation, people cutting across, which makes it a little bit uncomfortable. But for the moment, Smith got a good gap. Sen could be a bit further up. He's almost losing himself an entire position at the moment.
Just watch Sen on the start. I'm interested to see how that Audi
Green
goes.
light, go, go, go.
Yeah, it can be a bit of a slug sometimes, but the Aston can be an even bigger one. For the moment, it looks like everyone's about where they want to be. There's a tap at the background. I think that's Gibbons potentially, or is that Gafford onto the back of Holmes? I'm not quite sure. There's a Merc on the left who's been pushed a fair bit wide, but only some minor little taps back there. We'll jump backwards and see if there's any more carnage. There doesn't appear to be. A couple have gone off into the dirt. Nothing too catastrophic. We're watching over around the P30 window. Again, up the front, there's a McLaren pushed wide. Again, no major damage, just a bit of a shuffle, mildly bruised ego, and an otherwise happy car. Don't want to see anyone into the wall. So, looks pretty clean all the way through there. That is what we really wanted to see. Up the front, Zach Smith has gotten a good old jump. Sweet has managed to pip Sen. So he's up into P2, Sen falling down to P3. He's got a gaggle of cars waiting behind him. Beyond that, looks fairly similar to about where we started, though there is shufflings here and there all the way down the track. Looks like Raschuti was getting a little bit interested in Zanchen's position. Having a look to the side, there's a McLaren around. That will be Callum Gibbons. It is. Let's see what happened to him.
Too much curb on.
No,
Oh, a bit of a tap there from the Merc. Which Merc's that?
That'll be Ben Floyd, I suspect.
Oh,
It's just come in with a bit more steam than what the pair of them could really share. So, unfortunate stuff. Let me move on. So, yeah, Gibbons just plummeting down the order. Not exactly sure where he's going to pop back in, but yeah, that one hurts. What's your guys' take on that lap 1?
Well, it was clean, which is a surprise apart from a little tap here and there, but no big incidents, which is good to see at least.
Wow, it's Cherwietz has just gone off, but yeah, look, I think that's probably a better lap 1. Definitely clean, which is good to see until we go to race 2, and then it's just a shit fest. But I think that Sweet had an amazing. Oh, what's David Mason done there? He's made a bit of a balls up. Oh, it looks like he's just lost it himself, maybe on that curb. If not, he's been tapped by someone. But the lap 1 looked good. Didn't see any major instance. Sweet made a right mincemeat out of Stan on the start. The Audi's probably one of the best cars on the start. of races. That's a massive dive. What is that from Rashuti? Whoa. I think I'd be reporting that one. That's a dive and a half, and he's cut
Optimistic, one
basically.
could say.
Yeah, look, it is optimistic, and he's basically cut the whole first bit of chicane. So I'll be reporting that one. But Sweet's in a very good position now. Jacobs has also got past Sen, so Sen's going to start to fall back now. It's got Baldwin behind, and there's Washington as well, and Floyd. So I think Sen's in a bit of trouble now.
Did Sen outperform himself in quali, or I didn't see the quali. Oh, there's a Zanshin. Cannot break on the grass.
That is it. Sen very close to P1 actually. Only a couple of tenths. As I quietly indulged in a little bit of chocolate brownie then for a moment. So I think that's my play of the day so far. But no, Sen doing an absolutely cracking job. He has dropped down to 4th at the moment though. So fallen behind Jacobs. And as you can see... Sorry?
Sorry, no, I wanted to ask Hobbsy how the Audi difference is on race pace when it gets fuel in. Does it change a lot? Or?
Yeah, race pace, I'm trying to think. In terms of the 20-minute race, I'd say about, well, for me at least, you're about 5 to 6 tenths off quali pace. And then, excuse me, when you're on the 40-minute fuel, you're about a second, 1.1 off the pace. So there's not a terribly huge amount of difference. It's about what you'd expect. The main issue with the Audi around here on race fuel is just the tyre wear. Like, I hadn't done a lot of testing, and come halfway, 3/4 into the 40-minute race, the tyres just went on the rear. The fronts were fine. So I think that Sen might just need to be a little bit more careful. But otherwise, no other complaints around here.
That's it. It's pretty reasonable, I think. I think most of the cars are fairly reasonable around here, as much as you can be.
Yeah, it seems pretty well balanced. I was just thinking because the Bentley felt fantastic on fuel. The difference between full fuel and no fuel was very, very marginal. So it was actually quite fun once you loaded up the fuel, because it didn't even register the second or the final chicane on the force feedback when you had fuel in. You just sort of glided over it.
Yeah, look,
in a league of its own, isn't it?
Yeah, well, that's the Bentley. In terms of other cars, I know fuel's not so much a difference coming over the chicane, but on the exit of that second bit, it can make a huge difference. Just the rear just likes to just get away from you a little bit. As we saw there a little bit just on Floyd's car, just losing it a little bit over that bump and on the exit. So in terms of the actual chicane itself, not too bad. Exit though, it can compromise you a little bit, but all these drivers have the talent to overcome that. As we see, Floyd's really getting up close and personal with Washington. Might even get a run on him down the straight. Maybe.
He does have very good legs, and will hold him off for this one. It's worth pointing out, Zach Smith pulled himself a nice 2.5 second gap to Sweet, who himself has a 1.7 gap to Jacobs. So they are a little bit on their own at the moment, but Jake Baldwin has friends, and that friend is Udit Sen just in front of him. A good gap to Washington. Washington has even more pressure from Ben Floyd that we have just been watching.
One good thing as a defender here is it's a fairly easy track to defend overall, especially when you have a straight line advantage like he has in the Beamer. There's no real obvious clean overtaking positions apart from the straight if you can get a decent run. So
yeah, it does feel like we've seen a lot of drivers make mistakes and the car behind just cannot capitalise on it. It feels like all of those turns that kind of induce those mistakes, and they're really tricky can be very difficult to follow. Very anti-out, as we just saw. Even if you make an absolute mess of it, you can usually still be ahead by the time you come into the braking zone for Ravazza. Out of Ravazza 2, it's difficult to follow and get a really good run on the car ahead, but as you say, this is where you'd set up your attacks. It's just, it doesn't seem to be one of those tracks where generally a mistake leads to a position change.
Yeah, it's the only real place I found that a place that will lead, that you have a mistake that will lead to you losing your position, is that final Ravazza, as just probably touched on there. It's just, you touch the dirt, well, even out of Ravazza 1, you touch the dirt either there or out of Ravazza 2, you're gonna lose a position on the straight, unless you're a Porsche, where you're just not going to catch the driver in front who's made the mistake. But that's probably the only real place you can lose a position. Oh, maybe the hairpin as well. If you go very wide, then you can lose another position there. But other than that, it's fairly close racing otherwise.
Yeah, the hairpin is usually out of the Villeneuve chicane if the car ahead just dips a wheel in the sand, which is fairly easy to do if you're pushing. The hairpin becomes an opportunity. But you still need to have some pretty big coconuts to stand it in there.
Oh, speaking of big coconuts, did you see how much of the curb Floyd just used there? What on God's green earth was that?
It's the magic of Variante Alta.
No, that's front engine Mercedes things.
It's an RNG corner.
Yeah.
But it does feel like, as we see, I think a very slight tap there. And subsequently, I think we're going to see Floyd back off a little bit and not unsettle the car ahead and grab a position out of it. I've completely forgotten my line of thought, but that's okay. It probably wasn't that interesting to begin with.
So Girardi, Gafour, Shewich and McIntosh all fairly close to each other as well. Sanchin has caught up to Wolf. Down the field there's a couple of guys getting nice and personal.
That's a good point, as we can see. Gafour and McIntosh.
Jeez, that
involved.
was very close. Oh,
who is that?
Who's that?
who's
Audi
that?
up there?
Is that Sen?
Must be, he's the only
It
Audi
is.
so far up.
Whoa, can we have a look at what just... Oh, no, has he got tapped around by Baldwin, possibly?
Yeah, I went back 20 seconds and I thought that would be enough, but no. He's been off there for a little while already. So not clear on what caused that one, but the end result was Sen was side on and has lost a massive slug of positions. What I was going to say is I wonder how much of the incidents coming into race 2 are a result of that following car frustration that you can have here. It is so hard to get ahead that coming into race 2 in those early corners, it's when drivers start to really push hard to try and grab a position because it's so much harder to get it later. I wonder if that is what consciously or subconsciously plays through anyone's minds.
Yeah, it's typically one of those tracks where, similar to Zolder, where there's no real clear overtaking opportunities, so you get a lot of drivers trying to force something that isn't necessarily on. And I think that doesn't necessarily... It makes for good close racing, but it makes for a lot of incidents, as we've seen over the last 2 days as well.
Yeah, absolutely. It's a mixed bag sometimes. It adds excitement, but if you're the victim of that excitement, you might not be so keen.
So now, McIntosh just hunting down Gafour at the moment. We see out the front, Sweet 3.2 seconds off Smith, which is just got... That's just unbelievable. I think from under 14 minutes in a race to pull out that amount, probably nearly from the start, the first 3 or so laps. That's incredible. That's, unless that's 2 seconds, it is 3. I can read. But that's just a very solid effort there from Smith, really holding that P1.
Yeah, I mean, so Smith's last lap was his best lap at a 140.9. He's just crossed the line that one for a 140.8. But he's almost kind of doing qualifying sessions.
Yeah, that's very fast race pace.
Yeah, generally very impressive work. So I think he's just set up for a 20-something minute qualifying stint and going hell for leather.
I think if this main straight was just maybe 100 meters longer, overtaking in the first corner would become a lot simpler. It's just when you get a good run out of the last corner, you just properly catch up sort of just before the braking zone, so it makes it quite tricky, and it's fairly easy to defend on the inside as well.
I guess that's the beauty of Imola, just having those struggles, knowing, oh, if it's a bit longer, I could make it past, but you know, that's the challenge. You can try and get past them through turns 2 and 3. Do you want to be that person who says the kink's a corner, which it's not? Tell me otherwise.
Don't you kink shame that corner, or corner shame that kink? I don't know.
Yeah, you don't even know.
Oh dear. Well, this. Oh, hello. Sorry. What on earth was that? I just want to have another quick look at that. Go a bit further up. So this is Chewits and Holmes having a bit of a scrap. Kind of got through there safely. Chewits does take the position away from Holmes, but it might be one for the stewards. Just have a look and make sure that's all fair game. It's interesting. Diebols with a good point. Smithy is a monster confirmed. Just ability to execute is always just so high. Do not know how he does it, but he does it and does it well.
The consistency is for me always one of the most impressive things. When I was following Madison in the first race, on like a single lap, if we both made a lap, the pace is pretty close, but he does that lap every single lap of the race. And I just don't have the talent to match that type of consistency. And I think that's where the biggest difference comes in between the true aliens and the just plain fast guys.
Yeah, that's it. And I think that consistency is what gets you up there as well. To be able to know that you can execute lap after lap, be consistent, which means you can look for the inconsistencies and the opportunities to improve, knowing that the rest of the lap is going to be stable and you're not going to throw yourself completely off balance. You know, you've got a steady benchmark. Absolutely. Applying a fair bit of pressure, but Holmes soaking it up.
Ooh, little touch there from Gafour.
I'm not... It was very close to a touch. It might be a little bit netcodey as well, so what we see might not be what they quite felt. But it definitely reacted as if there was a touch. To my eyes, it looked like there was still a gap, but I think you're right. That tap did occur there. So, Chewiott's skipping away a little bit as Holmes has to try and hold these guys off. Now, this matters a lot, in particular, for Rashuti. And now Gafour with that 10-second penalty means that Rashuti does have provisional pole for the next race, and we're getting ever closer to that. But we're not over yet. Ben Floyd with a 15-second penalty ahead actually is maybe with the gap to Chewiott's. I think he's may actually even fall out of the top 12.
Yeah, I'm thinking that too. So Johnson's looking in a good position at the moment, maybe?
It's close, isn't it? As to whether or not...
Hang on, 9-3-12. No, Johnson might just be out of it. So Rashuti... No, Floyd actually at the moment would be on pole.
It's one way to get it. We'll see though in the next couple of minutes whether or not that is what we have at the end of this race. For now though, this scrap here feels unresolved.
It does.
I think there's going to be some positional changes, and I'm just not sure who it's going to be. So there you go. Smith crosses the line, enters into the final lap.
So he's had a fun little hot lap session, whereas everybody else has had quite a tough race.
Yeah, I think that's a fair summation. He's in a league of his own a little bit right now, doing an absolutely fantastic job. Guys here, Holmes, Girardi, McIntosh. Girardi has a look to the inside. He's holding it there and cuts a hell of a lot out of the corner. And cutting back across, gets tangled up in Holmes. Gafour just trying to avoid contact, and that's
no, that's not going to end well.
Yeah, I think lucky for both of them that didn't end up worse. I think stewards are going to have a look at that. I'm not exactly sure whose side they're going to be on, but in the end, it is Holmes that is holding his position. McIntosh has to settle back in behind, and Gafour does get some positions, helps him slightly mitigate that 10-second penalty, but it's not going to be by enough. Who this is helping is Floyd, who I think now is well and truly safe to the top 12. Jazz Tully, good point. Gibbons has jumped a long way up the order. The Rise wants to see Bendik.
The leader has finished the race.
This is a good scrap though. Bendik is fighting for the position, but this is for the top 12. I will catch him just at the end. But if anything happened here and we missed it, I think I would be kicking myself. Feels like Holmes has done enough to hold his P9. McIntosh taking P10. Gafour with that penalty is going to fall a fair bit further behind. Raschuti and not holding in there. Bendik. Oh no. The Rise, that is on you. Right? I just followed. You wanted to see him. And as we flipped the camera to him, he had run quite deep. Ravata too. Fortunately, he does not lose a position to Chalmers. I'd actually drop him, I think, a position to Gafour potentially. No, I might have those time wrongs. I'm wrong there. That is a race done.
Is Rachuti on pole for second race, or should be?
So get a confirmation in a sec. I think you're right, it would be Raschuti, because I think Floyd will stay inside the top 12. And with Gafour dropping down now, there might be some penalties that get applied post-race right now, and the stewards will organise that. They may even send a couple of people out to qualify, even though their qualifying won't count, while they review some penalties potentially, but we will see. So I'm just hovering a camera over pit lane. We might as well see some cars that are moving. I'm not sure why it hasn't switched over to the next one yet.
I'll be back in just 1 sec.
No worries. So there you go. Session has ended. And P12 is Johnson, actually.
No?
Yeah.
It's...
Oh, Raschuti. Sorry. No. Yeah.
Can you read?
Sometimes.
Give it all you can.
Not always.
Yeah, not always.
So there we have it. Zach Smith with the win. Sweet and Jacobs joining him on race 1 podium. In the Pro-Am category, it was Girardi, Johnson and Zanshin for theirs. And in the AMs, that will be Wolf, Bendik and Sanderson. So unfortunately, Ven Floyd's 15-second penalty has actually kept him in the top 10, and indeed only dropped him a couple of positions. However, Gafor pushes him a fair way down the list. There you go, if you're interested in the Pro-Am specifically. That was their standings, and in the M class, there's still 11 Ams. Unfortunately, Ilhan had some sort of issue there, and Mason as well pulled off to the side, but for the rest of them, were able to continue on. So, any big surprises for you there?
I think it was a good effort from Rashudi, actually. He's put himself in a very good position. Unlucky for Sen there. I reckon he had a good chance there at that top 5, and if not, probably just dropped behind Baldwin. Great effort there from the leader, of course, who, as usual, is just fast. Sweet, that was a great start from him. I think we had the sort of results that we were probably expecting, I dare say. Good effort from Gafor, even with that 10-second penalty. He tried his best, but sometimes things just don't go our way. And unlucky for Floyd, who also got that 15 seconds. Good showing from Gibbo, though, who span on lap 1 from P8, I think it was, or he was very high up and went basically back to last and made his way all the way back up to P22 or 21. So that was a very good effort from him.
That's it. Zach Smith in the chat doesn't have to qualify, so he gets to join us for a moment at least. Steps 1 and 2 complete, and step 3 is to avoid death. The reverse grid.
That's a tough one.
Yeah, death is pretty prevalent around Imola.
And it is likely to stay clear as much as, well, at least I'd like one.
Boo! Boo!
Yeah, since sim time, it'll be 2 more hours away. Ooh, I reckon if you're some of these drivers, I'm going to look out of my curiosity. Oh, some of these gaps are getting pretty big. You want to be a bit further up there, especially when this car's right behind you. So, the stewards will be on about this as well. This holding up the pack and getting yourself a 200-second gap ahead. They're getting less and less keen on it. Although in qualifying 2, it's a little bit more spaced out. As you can see, not as many cars on the track. Although there'll be 29 cars out on that track. That's actually pretty busy. Fortunately, a longer circuit at least.
Yeah, it's there's very few things as frustrating as trying to go on a quali run, being on an excellent lap, and then catching a slower car just sort of in a most inopportune moment. Especially when you're improving by 8 or 9 tenths, which is usually possible on a proper flyer.
Yeah, look, it's tough. This is unfortunately just some of the downsides of. Well, I'm not saying there's a problem with multi-class with multi-paced qualifying, but also gives you a good challenge to just try and pace yourself in comparison to some of the other drivers, really understand who you're racing against. So it can be a challenge, but at the same time keeps you on your toes, keeps you aware of who is and isn't on a lap.
You're not wrong. So we're on board with George Fowler. He's currently in P15 of those who have set a lap. He's making some big gains, getting a bit more comfort now on his second flying lap. When the tyres will be in a much better temperature. You've got a banker down. You've got time to push forward. He's checked his driver ID, I'm sure. And he's running into some slower cars. Although they're getting a wriggle on now, which they'll be wanting to because they are blue flagged. 1.2 second gain. A little bit more. Car a little bit unsteady on some of those curves, but still a small improvement for Fowler. He'll get a half toe as well. That'll help him out. So 1.31 second gain pushes him up into the 143.
Yeah.
Big 143. So he's feeling a bit
Time.
better about that. Sen is about to finish his lap and gets immediately commentators cursed off into the dirt. So we will move on from that one. This one here is Zanshin. We haven't featured any bonnet cam. So for those bonnet cam
is best cam.
aficionados, yeah, well,
Oh yeah, because JP races in bonnet cam. Here we go.
It's not my fault. I'm a man of class.
Man of class.
that's
You're a man of class without the CL, mate. But sure.
Ooh, nice. That was actually quite sharp. Well done.
Thank you. I tried. I tried my best.
very well. Adam B is in chat, worried about rain when it comes to his split. You hope for rain. Rain is the great equaliser.
Or the Great Destroyer. Depending on how you look at it.
I mean, a little bit of column A, a little bit of column B. Ascension goes very deep. It felt like into reverts to 1, but it gets a reasonable exit out of 2. Quite what he'd like, but a couple of tenths gain. Not going to be enough for a position, but will hedge against any further assaults on his current standing.
Yeah, don't worry, Zach. I won't get my mind changed. We all know the true people really know what is the best cam, so we don't need to justify it.
Adam, just believe in the rain. It's nice. Look,
Can someone get up and do the rain dance?
I believe in you. But it is a tricky track. So in the rain, it can be very, very challenging. In particular, where we are here now, Minerale, very
And
challenging. at those
dead.
times.
Oh, he saved it, but that's goodbye to your Delta.
That is
Anyway.
one of the best set of corners on any track anyway.
Oh, that was a good chicane.
Yeah, I mean, he's got nothing left to lose here. He won't get another lap in, so he's just got to send it. And does look like he's pushed a little bit too hard. Someone's got themselves disqualified.
Who's that? Is that
Frustock?
Dave? I thought it was Mason. It's Frustock. Okay.
Not sure why he's disqualified. Sure, there's a reason. Stewart's could be that he's not on comms actually. That is a quick way to get that done. Zanshin is on a bit of a game, but it's not going to be enough. He'd need to find 5 tenths, but not likely. Gibbons, though, jumps himself up into P2. Very well done, right at the death. Luke Johnson's got a couple of tenths. And a little bit more as well coming his way. I think this will get him a P4. Almost another tenth required for that one. George Fowler, 3 tenths as he comes in. Is this going to get him 1 position? It will, just jump Pips Laird. And I think we're out of cars left to complete. Parkin, though, does actually jump up 7 places right at the end for the P20 that he was looking at into P13. Is that Bendik in 6th? Yes, it is. So he will start, what's that, 18th? This restart. For those unfamiliar, the top 12 from the previous race will start in a reverse grid, and then it is everyone who just qualified in their qualifying order. So if you've qualified first in the qualifying that just was, then you'll start 13th in this race. And it does look like it's going to be dry at least until the 30-minute mark, and almost certainly beyond. So
I was going to say, it's not cloudy or anything, so I dare say it's going to be sunny the whole race.
Everyone rushing to adjust for the tire temps because this is quite a bit hotter than it was in hot lap and practice.
that's a good point. There's a fair bit of wind, but it looks like it's a crosswind to where the cars are now. So, unlike what we saw in the previous split,
Alex
heavy
in
wind.
chat pointing out 463 is starting at the rear of the field for causing a collision. So
Ooh.
must have been
Oh,
quite a
wow.
collision. Although they frowned quite heavily on collisions in qualifying, so makes sense, I suppose.
Yeah, especially if it comes kind of midway through on your first or second flying lap, because you kind of... it gets very hard if you have an incident on your first flying lap, therefore don't complete it, especially if it's late. You've got to teleport to the pit. You're basically going to get one more shot, maybe 2 laps if you're really quick. So
Yeah,
it
this
can be quite impactful.
8-minute quali is quite a challenge as well. Getting a clear proper lap in. It's good
Yeah,
fun.
yeah. You don't have time to mess around. So right now the stewards will be up there calling out car numbers and getting everyone into order, and potentially as well giving them a stern reminder early that this is very tricky going into the first major corners. Please be careful.
How straight is the line? Is it looking good up the front? Or?
Let's have a look.
It's not a bad cue.
I mean, the track is going to naturally curve here, so obviously we'll see a little bit of a shift. Not too dramatic just yet. Safety car starts to get underway. The rest of the drivers will slowly be rolling up. It's not too bad. Oh, yes, welcome, Pat. Yeah, so with this, because they only have to call out the top 12 and then everyone else can follow in qualifying order, it's actually a fair bit quicker to get moving, which is nice. Means that I'm slightly less likely to get in trouble for being late to bed. So, I appreciate that.
Proceeds to get in trouble.
I mean, there's a reasonable chance. There's a reasonable chance.
How comfortable is the sofa?
Sorry?
I say, how comfortable is the sofa?
I think I'm going to get a mild talking to. I'm not sure. I'm not
That's
sure.
okay then.
That's alright. So drivers now will just be looking to get tyre temps up. I did note this track I managed last night. No, it didn't get me any amazing positions, but I did manage to get my tyres right up to temperature. And actually started really good tyre pressures. So it's definitely possible, though I did that entirely by heating the cores. So the surface is really bit cold, but it wasn't too bad.
But once the core is properly up to temps, the surface comes into the window very quickly. So
Yeah, that's it. And I got to practice that 4 or 5 times, because between safety cars and race starts, I had my opportunities.
but the first 3 races were entertaining, shall we say?
Yeah.
There was some action, there was some excitement. It's a lot of clumps of cars, so that was some good stuff. We'll see the safety car peel off now. JP, this one's all yours.
Thank you. As we have Stefano in first, Ricciuti, Girardi, McIntosh, Holmes, Sherwich, Floyd, Mission, Washington, Baldwin, and Jacobs, your top 10 leading up to the start. So start line is obviously a little bit further down here at Imola. So trying to keep the gap, trying to keep an eye on the flag, hoping for a good pull away. Girardi actually a little bit out of position there, or is Ricciuti out of position?
Green light, go, go, go.
Anyway, and they're off. Nobody particularly slow off the line. 3 wide. Not really too wide into the first corner. Bentley on Bentley, violence nearly happening. Fairly clean through there. Ricciuti will be happy with that. He already has a little gap up the front, but further down the field seems pretty clean. And then a Ferrari and a Mercedes decide to get to know each other a little bit more intimately. McLaren and Aston Martin join the party, and it goes very wrong. So I'm assuming that might be a safety car. Yes, that's definitely a safety car.
Yeah, it wasn't the biggest pile up, but it's going to cause a bit of a gap in the field. So I think that it's probably a good call there, just to call that safety car nice and early.
Definitely some serious damage to a couple of cars there as well.
Yeah, so I can see Jarrett's has already jumped into the pits, so I've gone all the way back to the start. I'm not sure if I'm not going to queue up the Jimmy Barnes this time, mostly because I forgot. And I think we must see a bit of a tap here. Nice, but this is what kicks it off, I think, and it's there.
Just the tiniest of taps.
And then his car gets absolutely slammed around it because it rolls it back onto the track.
And because people aren't slowing down on the yellow flag.
Yeah, that's the right thing to do, to call the safety car there. Only a few cars involved, but it was a big few hits, and there was nearly 4 or 5 wide there. And that's Chewy, back in the pits. So that's a very good call there from the race director.
Adam, the Merc is red. Just to answer that question.
Red being the best colour.
Who led that was Sherwich, I think, who got absolutely murdered there.
Yeah, it was. And he's teleported to pits. Let's see if he's able to get back out. Yeah, unfortunate stuff. Now, drivers can go into the pits if they've got damage. There's no mandatory pit stop for this race, so if they want to get that done, then they can. The safety car will not be going that slowly, so it's not exactly a free pit, but if you've got a reasonable amount of damage, and I don't actually think there was huge amounts of damage throughout the field, but I think the best thing is the safety car call is what will slow people down. So it's almost kind of like just an enforced full course yellow almost, with everyone kind of slowing down pretty quickly. It just avoids that collision getting significantly worse. But yeah.
So who was the Merc that was involved there? Was that Samwise in the beginning, I suppose?
It might have been, and it's such a hard one, because the touch was very minor, I think, or at least from my quick look at it. And yeah, kind of got 360'd around. I think there's a little bit of a chat as well about the rejoin. Should have held his brakes, yes. But yeah, it's always hard, I think, because I don't think he's done anything wrong at all in the incident's commencement. So it's not like he's caused it and then made it worse, but certainly hold your brakes is an important part of it. So we'll roll on. It does look like Holmes did actually go into the pits, and indeed that car looks pretty fresh. So,
And it will have enough time to catch up with the pack as well.
yeah, I think you're right there. And it looks like Gafford as well has gone in, and Stuart Matthews also rolling out, and Chariot is rolling back out. So good to see that he'll retake the field. It'd be a fair bit behind. That must have been a big old chunk of damage because he would have been locked for the pits as well, whereas Holmes would have rolled through and then taken the pit stop. He might be able to catch a fair bit. I'm sure the safety car will be coming in this lap, so Holmes will just catch up in time, and it will be Raschuti to take the lead. And if he was watching the restarts from earlier tonight, no, he's gone straight away.
That was smart.
He's not messing around, and as you say, very, very smart. He's gotten a
Madison
big old
caught me
gap.
completely off guard with that, so that was quite a different approach to it.
Yeah, I think that was well played. I think everyone was probably expecting him just to wait until the straight, but no, he's gone.
Keep an eye a bit further back and just make sure that there's no more incidents coming in here. As we see Sanderson just sneaking a position from Johnson. That is Carl Johnson. And there's Luke Johnson just behind him. So
The Honda guys were saying that the Honda is very tricky on the cold tires, especially with the fuel. So after the safety car, they'll take a lap or two to get back up.
oh no,
We'll do that.
it's Luke Johnson, and that is a. If he can get it rolled off, but he's staring at another car. The warning for yellow flags, I think, will be screamed out by the stewards a little bit. And Luke Johnson. Oh, he's fallen a massive way down. He'll be unhappy about that one. At the back as well, I can see there's another incident, and that's the car 288. It's Brian Tan's been involved in something. Not entirely clear what, but no, that won't call the safety car back out. That's a pretty minor one. It had potential to be much worse, but fortunately, the driver's being a little bit more heads up. So we're hovering ominously above Macintosh.
Forward with a good run there. Should be able to make this stick.
Yeah, it looks like Macintosh was well too far out onto the dirt, although Bentley's top end holding him in good stead. Without the toe, Floyd not able to get too much more done, but does bring it in neatly. Just behind as well. See Sean Jacobs. Oh, we got a wild scrap with Zach Smith.
Wow, that's a fight and a half. Jacobs, oh, he's going to force Smith to the outside, and he does. Forces Smith to back out. That's very well played from him.
Very good car control as well, I think, from Smith there. So
Yeah.
to back out in the brake zone, swing the car around and just tuck back in behind. That's a beautiful little piece of work there. I mean, it's better again if he can grab the position, but very well balanced.
Also smart enough to know there's still 30 minutes remaining in the race and there's loads of time to get the move done.
Yeah, up 4 positions from his starting. So we've obviously started in 12th, being the winner of the first race. You can see car 21 has been involved in an incident. That's Narazfa down at Tosa. Not entirely sure what happened with that one.
He isn't a Porsche, is he not? So most likely touched the curb. The Porsche decided to do more speeds.
That's what it does. Zach Smith, he's got cut out for him a little bit here. Jacobs getting a pretty reasonable run out of Ravazza, but here comes the toe, and here comes the Aston under a toe, more to the point. Brings it to the inside, knows that there's not enough overlap, he doesn't have corner rights, and that would just be a send if he tried for it, and a send is not safe. So sensible, smart driving. Let's have a little bit of a look up here. Oh, again, car 288, that's Brian Tan, a Porsche at Aqua Minerale. I think we can imagine what happened there.
Yeah, I think Smith is going to have a tough old time getting back up to a podium position with the pace the guys in the top 6 are displaying so far.
Yeah, you're not wrong. Jacobs trading blows with him quite neatly. And the fortunate part for him, I think, is that he is in the running, and indeed we can see him just at the back of shot, even as we're looking at P3 and P2, further subscreen P1 just a touch out of view. Definitely a solid effort. Oh, Floyd.
Ooh, Floyd just making a little bit of a mistake on the exit of Ravazza 2, just to see if that has an effect that's going to bring McIntosh closer into him and let Girardi pull away. Hopefully McIntosh can help out his team out a little bit, but putting that pressure on Floyd. He's just going to back out now, and there's missing Just lurking in the background. Maybe he's going to try and get a position out of this as Floyd's right back on Girardi. I think Girardi's just trying to play a little cautious. He's probably going to get up to Raschuti, but not at the rate that Floyd could. So I think he's really helping out there for Raschuti. And just holding up the people behind.
It's worth pointing
So
out
maybe-
Smith did get past Jacobs on that last straight.
Yeah.
So he's now got Washington in his sight. Sorry, continue on.
It'll be interesting to see whether if Misson can start putting a little bit of pressure on McIntosh, whether that changes the game, whether Girardi might be able to get away and Floyd get up to Girardi again. Should probably go Could on the straight. Wait and see though as the cameraman decides where he wants to be. Raschuti is on decent pace at the moment. Girardi is catching though. That is the Bentley though. That's the Bentley effect around here. So maybe, just maybe Floyd can hold off McIntosh, because if he gets past Girardi, he is, in my opinion, he's in the clear to get past Raschuti pretty quickly. But he has dropped back a fair bit.
Shuri is not an easy man to pass, so won't be that simple for Girardi, I think.
At the same time, Rashuti's not skipping away. He is just what he ideally wants to do. He'd love for Girardi and Floyd to get more tangled up with each other and be able to get off cleanly. Not to be just for the moment. You could see Smith has now pulled a 2.5 gap on Jacobs after getting past him. So props to Jacob. I mean, he's still a great driver, putting in great times. But Smith just so quick, especially when he's on his groove, and he's obviously in a good rhythm here tonight.
The front engine cars are just so stable through Aqua Mineral and now over the chicane. Probably see them gain a little bit of time on Raschuti. But Floyd, what an exit he had there. Girardi, we look in his rearview mirror going, can you please stay away? And he will have to probably look to defend coming onto the straight if Floyd gets a good run out of the Ravatzes, which he may. He
Should be
I think
interesting.
yeah, matched each other, so I think Floyd is in a good position, but Girardi's in an even better position on Raschuti now. It's really not helping Floyd. Girardi's going to go to the outside. Raschuti defends the inside. Can Girardi go later on the brakes? He can't. He's going to tuck him behind, and now Rasciuti's just going to let Girardi deal with Floyd. If Floyd can just get past Girardi, I think Raschuti knows he's going to be in a world of trouble. As good as a defender he is, you've got Ben Floyd in a Merc around Imola, and you know you're in trouble. And now Misson, we just see there in his Nissan, just getting in on this battle, trying to sneak up on McIntosh.
What's happened to Smith? He's dropped back behind Jacobs again.
Yeah, looks like maybe caught on that straight a little bit, made a bit of a mistake as well. Now Sweet's right on the back of Smith, and Baldwin's getting in on the action too. So we're looking for another train of cars here for a battle.
I think Smith and Washington might have gotten involved in each other, because that's who he was
that's
battling, right?
Down. Yeah.
Yeah. Smith
Yeah.
was just behind Washington, and now he's dropped behind Jacobs, as you say, but Washington's dropped even further behind. Let's see if there's any kind of damage visible to the car. I'm not seeing anything. Washington, however, let's have a look there. He's in the BMW that the cameraman's struggling to find. There we go. Looks like a little bit... Yeah, that front doesn't look clean, and there's a little bit of scuffing to the rear, so... Something's occurred.
He was ahead of Smith, so I'm not sure how he would have gotten the front damage unless he made contact with a wall.
Yeah, it looks like there's a little bit of a scuff to the rear, and then it looked to my eyes like the front was a little bit beat up too, so hard to say for sure. It's worth pointing out there's a couple of other good scraps going on as well. David Neighbour just behind. He's chasing down Van Dijk, but he's got Clayton behind him in one of the Jags. And indeed, that entire clump is starting to form. And, cars ahead. That's for sure. Meddings and Wolf.
Hang on, there's Lamb off in front. I think that's Sanderson.
In the sand.
He's indeed in the sand, and now he's going to have Zanchin all over the rear end of his Lamborghini.
Is that the Australian pronunciation?
Oh, I just...
No.
No. I just thought I'd make myself look like a bit of a fool.
Mission accomplished.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you.
It's all for the viewers. Oh, and there's
Oh!
a big old moment there.
That's
That
Johnson.
is Carl Johnson. Let's get
I
another
think
look.
he did that by himself.
And there is a tree in the way, so
Oh, he's got a lot of rear damage. Have a look at that.
rear diffuser's just hanging on.
Ah, gone.
Ah, VTEC
Yep.
things. Oh, damaged VTEC things.
That's damaged VTEC rear end things right there. That's not what you love to see. Zach Smith, though, is going to have another go at Jacobs. Jacobs really needs to go to the inside right about now. Oh, no. Is Smith's going to... Oh, he holds back. I thought he could have had the opportunity there. As we see, Misson has gotten past McIntosh, but McIntosh says, excuse me, I'd like that position back. Oh, lets him through. Oh, but...
Oh, ahead.
Girardi.
Girardi onto the dirt.
Yeah, it's finally been forced a mistake by Floyd. And now this is all coming up trumps here for McIntosh, who can just use that pull from his teammate, maybe to try and get past him and go up further to attack Rashuti with Floyd.
Some very interesting scraps there. Rashuti has a temporary reprieve. They're getting, I think, about for the first time, a full 1 second plus gap to any cars behind, but Floyd will be very interested in bringing that down at a rapid pace if he can. See how much of a gap he's already pulled on Girardi just through Minerali through a better exit. That's one corner, is not an entire race, but can continue to execute. They're so close to the edge of the track. And the dirt after about to one.
Yeah, my favourite car, Ali. Yeah, I agree. It's a great car. It's not the worst. I say it's the worst, but like, I couldn't put it as the single-handedly worst car.
What is objectively the worst car?
Objectively the worst?
The Jag. Duh.
In the GT3s?
Yeah.
Yes.
I mean, assuming you're not... of the cars that we actually race, we're not kind of like the writer and...
Yeah, no. Writer, no. Go away. No.
To be fair, the Jag is a bit of a meme, so I'm assuming we can't really count that. Apart from Mia Rose, who manages to get some ridiculous performance out of it, nobody...
Yeah. It's just what happens. I think if we're not counting the Jag... Oh... I don't know, maybe the... probably due to the fact I can't drive it without a setup. Oh, I'm definitely going to upset people, but I think... Oh, no, maybe I don't want to say it now.
Well, look, I'll say it, and I think I might be thinking what you're thinking, and I'm saying it's the Porsche.
No? That's... If I had a proper setup, at the times I've driven it, I think I'd enjoy it more. I'd probably... Ooh, what happened there? That's Smith on Jacobs again. Diebol says Audi. What a load of bull crap. It's a great car.
So let's see if there's a run on here, but I would say the Porsche simply because we race an entire season, and the Porsche is just the most volatile car. And to be able to enjoy your race week to week, you need a car that is competitive each week. And the Porsche is just the worst for it. Here we go. Smith, though.
Oh, what a dive.
Tucks it in neatly. We say dive, but that is, I think that is a good execution.
Yeah, it's well done. He's just pinpoint perfect accuracy there. I don't hate the Lambo, Dan. I'm just not a big fan of it. I'd prefer to drive it over the... I'm going to say it. I don't like the BMW at all. That thing is...
I found the BMW very, very normal. Kind of feels like an
right fun
Aston.
around here, actually.
Yeah. This is the one track I'll give in and say the BMW is good. The rest, rubbish. Nah, get out.
That's it. And while we've been rabbiting, though,
Oh, hello.
Floyd has pulled this gap right on down. And I think he has eyes one more place up the grid. But getting past Raschuti, very, very challenging. Raschuti, I think, is the kind of driver as well that knows full well that if he has a bad Ravazza 1, he can just kind of, if you're very close behind, he can block up Ravazza 2 and make sure that he gets a great exit and you are compromised. Although that might not be.
That's not going to happen. That was a good exit there from Floyd. Both had a decent exit, but slipstream. Raschuti's definitely going to be sticking to the inside here. He's going to force Floyd to the outside. I have a feeling Floyd might find the brakes. Deep. Yeah.
Tiny mistake, and that's it. What's your road?
Oh, the Bentleys, though. Hello. That's McIntosh finally on Girardi after all this time. Can he get it done finally? Oh, side by side with his teammate. Oh, a tap. No. Bentley. So Missen's going to capitalise. Ooh, we might have to have another look at that. And there's just a tap and gone on curb.
I think McIntosh just turned in a little bit too early there, to be fair.
Yeah,
Girardi
stewards will
doesn't have
certainly
anywhere
have
to
a
go.
look. Stewards will have a few different looks at that one, but sort of really come down to, I think, steering angles and is he just pushing too hard or how's that played out? But yeah, as we saw in the end there, it's Girardi who is the loser in that one.
Well, Missen is the winner here because he's not overtaking anybody in his World W3.
Yeah, that's right, but he's got McIntosh, though, who's going to put all the pressure that he can in the world on him. Still got 16 minutes left in the race, so now it's just going to be a question of can Smith put pressure on McIntosh first, or is it going to be McIntosh on Misson, or even Sweet on Smith, maybe, if he can catch up in time.
Yeah, you're not wrong. It's all going on.
Also, just to point out, they're 15th, Zanchin, Bendick, Neighbour, Clayton, all within about a second of each other there.
Yep. Oh, that's a bit of a tap there. McIntosh on Smith. Can I get it? Oh, forces him wide. And now Sweet finds that little bit of inside. And Smith says, excuse me, I'd like to come through. Oh, it's a tap. Now Jacobs is getting back in on the action. What is this? This is wild. Can he go to the inside on Sweet? No. Looked for it.
I think they all attended the Patrick Oliver School of getting touched there because that was quite a lot of contact.
Yeah, look, they have.
Patrick Oliver School of Getting Touched. That is...
That's not something you want to say again. I've just realised. No, that's
an interesting education.
It's a school that Patrick Oliver established last night.
Oh, okay.
Oh yeah, nice.
And, yes, it had a rough night.
Yes, there was. I think I saw about 6 side-by-side bumps, and a lot of them just kind of racing into the bumps, but I'm sure the stewards will be having a look through to make sure that everything is within the bounds of reasonableness. And we do want relatively safe door-to-door racing, which is one of the hardest things to really get in.
It was just more upsetting to hear 777 every 2 seconds, depressingly in the VC.
Yeah. Yep.
I mean,
That was
in all
sad.
that contact, only Macintosh really got negatively affected by a little bounce off track. The rest of it was just a bit of argy-bargy, so
Yeah, it's just more upsetting for his teammate Girardi. It's just racing. I'm sure the stewards would definitely have a look into it. Just have a look at the inputs to see if there's any sort of irregular inputs there. Clayton's now fighting with Carl Johnson. Take that back. It's David Neighbour.
Yes, he's just gotten the position, I think.
He has indeed.
and probably a good time just to remind everybody who's watching to like and subscribe if you're enjoying the stream.
Absolutely, it does help us out a lot, so hit those. I always forget to mention. And check it out on pitwall.live as well if you're looking for, if you want to see right now, what various driver positions are in. If there's a driver in particular you want to check out, that's a good way to see how they're performing. And you can mention in chat as well, like if there's someone specifically you want to see, I'd love to jump around. So there's this clump here, and I actually want to go a little bit further down as well to Luke Johnson. A few Johnsons here tonight, with Powell. No, so Luke Johnson. So he's just been pursuing Chalmers and Leonard Scott for a while now, actually. Looks to me like Chalmers might be half thinking about it. You could see by the position of his car, he was still half thinking about it all the way into Piratella.
They are also teammates in the endurance, so they should be on the voice chat with each other, having a bit of a negotiation, I would suspect. Oh, and Johnson didn't take the optimal line through there.
I always find it harder when it's an endurance teammate. So myself and Withers, who do the endurance series together, have found ourselves bumping into each other a fair bit in our series. It's always been good, clean racing.
Yeah, Baldwin has said the same because he's racing, I think it's with Washington, and they've had their fair coming together here and there. So never. It's good fun to race with your mates, but it's not fun when you have an incident with them.
That's it. As we
Ooh,
see, Leonard
that
Scott.
exit.
Yeah, not a great exit, and Chalmers is just going to walk straight past him here by the looks of things.
Also worth pointing out, Frustick, who started from the back after the penalty, is up to 24th already, so made up a fair few positions.
Yeah, absolutely. So, sounds like he's probably made one big mistake, unfortunately, in qualifying, and he's able to work that out a little bit as well, so that helps. Check back up the front and see what's going on. Looks like Baldwin and McIntosh, everyone else has started to really find their own space. By and large, a little bit of gaps started to form up. But Jacobs, Baldwin and McIntosh are still within that under a second gap to each other. I suppose one of the things about Imola as well is those gaps ebb and flow so quickly throughout the sectors, because you can close up so hard through sectors 2 and 3, I guess. So you see there's an off up ahead. Who is that? It's car 29. That is a back marker, I suspect. That is Brendan. He has had a moment, unfortunately. And has
I think
opted to go
he's
back
given
to
up.
pits.
The problem here with judging the sectors as well is the third sector starts just before Aqua Minerale. So
Yeah.
4 of the most technical turns are in the one sector. So it's very, very hard to judge where you're actually losing pace on somebody just based on timing sectors as well.
The rise. Wants to see where Ben Deek's going. I mentioned it. You can point it out. When did Floyd get past Raschuti? Quite a while ago. I think pretty much on the lap that he got right up behind Raschuti. Raschuti did not get a great Ravatsa 2, if you recall, a couple of minutes ago, and Floyd was right on top of him, and a comfortable overtake by the end of the main straight. Just a heaps better exit. So here, Mitchell, as requested by a couple of guys in chat who are having a great time. At the moment, on his own a little bit. So you can see nearest car ahead there, Sanderson, a second and a half. But it has been pulling a bit more of a gap from Clayton behind him.
Chalmers was handed a 15-second penalty for that send off the restart, I suppose.
Interesting, yep. Sounds about right. Stewart's doing a great job. So I'll keep an eye on Bendique. Meanwhile, Baldwin is having a big old run on Jacobs. And he's going to be up alongside enough. McIntosh. Oh, I feel like he was in two minds with McIntosh as to whether or not he's going to go through as well. Baldwin does go through, McIntosh does not. So we trade places once again.
Misson also very close to duty at the moment. Oh, he's backed off a little. He was a little bit close.
We see Zach
with a
Smith,
10-second
yeah,
penalty.
10-second penalty for a collision on lap 9. So that would have been with Washington,
Yeah, we
I
wondered.
dare say.
Yeah, we wondered what had happened there. So yeah, I guess those boys got tangled up. So it's going to make Smith's run to try and grab a second podium for the night that much more difficult, especially with how tight the pack is behind him.
And he'll be dropping down to almost 10th position just on that 10-second penalty.
Yeah, it's going to be a huge hit. The rise in chat. I tell you what, if Mitchell can get himself within a second of the car ahead, we'll watch it. Dan Joseph.
GTR is so quick.
Yeah, he's doing a very good job. Very good job.
Sen has had a good race, as pointed out by Joseph.
He has. We'll jump down there as we see a Ferrari who is a backmarker. Just gets himself out of the way. But Misson is under such heavy pressure at the moment from Raschuti. Knows that Smith is going to be all over this as well. Give us Hoolicam. Which one's Hoolicam?
It's an inside joke, Jamie.
Okay.
Apparently we're not inside.
Oh, that's fine. You could get whatever camera I want then. You get Misson's rear camera view then.
Well, that's a good view, as I thought that Porsche was about to die. Not a big fan of the Nissan engine sound, I'm going to be honest.
It's fair.
Sounds good inside.
Oh no, we could see it building
Oh,
in
is
the
that
background there.
Smith? Yeah.
Does get it back on track. Let's take a look, because these two were scrapping a bit. So that's Smith with Corey Sweet behind him in the Mercedes. Corey switching sides. Pulls up along neatly into the braking zone, and then
Oh,
it's just that tap there.
it's just not a good place to go side by side.
Yeah, it feels like a little bit of a racing incident, to be honest. But the stewards will take a look and see if anything needs to be done about that one. And what that does is open up a lot of space for these guys. And I think that pressure is going to come off a bit. So we'll have a quick look at Sen here. As noted, on a good recovery after an early incident. Set him back
Some
a
of the
fair way.
Porsches are taking some interesting blue flag lines.
It's certainly off the racing line.
It's definitely out of the way. I mean, you got to give them credit.
Yeah, I mean, if they got into another incident, then it'd be hard to say that they weren't doing their best to get out of it. Clayton, though, is pursuing Bendique.
It's Sanderson visiting the sand again there, so that'll allow Bendick to close up to him. Much to the pleasure of Benevolent and Benjamin.
Yeah.
And the Rise.
They asked for it, He better give us a fantastic move. And if he does, you can join. I mean, you can join the commentary team anyway.
Yeah.
We're not that. It's not that exclusive a club. Just ask.
No, it's not just be like, please commentate. Yes.
Yeah. But he is on a run, and I suspect that Sanderson's made a mistake because there was a 2-second gap between them for quite a while. He's going to crumble under the pressure, is the claim.
Okay.
Sorry, say that again.
He took the sand line through after the fish chicane.
You did say that. I heard it. I must admit, I was trying to look at something else at the time, so I have to imagine what it looked like. Doesn't look like he's going to run this time. I actually want to have a quick look at Neighbour. Whether or not, because he was very close on the last split.
Honda does not have the speed on the
No,
Jaguar.
look, it doesn't. It's probably one of the, if not the worst car at this track. It is just, I think it is actually the worst car here. It's so terrible.
I don't think you have to say at this track. It's a fairly crappy car pretty much everywhere, apart from Bathurst. Based on my little practice I've done in it.
It's good in other tracks, but yeah, Bathurst, it's the best garbage around here.
He's found himself in some empty space again. So I'm going to cut away for a little while. We will come back to it. See how these leaders are going. So it's definitely opened up. Floyd's pulled a better part of 4-second gap on Misson, who's also gotten past Rashidi. So that's all shuffled around while we've been looking away. Here's Smith trying to go around the outside. Gets himself a fair way ahead when it comes to braking. Cuts in a touch too tight. And
That's not sweet. That was all really not well done.
take another look. We saw it from this perspective before, so maybe this one's a reasonable look. This is centered on Sweet. But he has pushed a fair bit wide, but it's still... It's a bit ugly to see that kind of an incident. Stewards will take a look and try and figure out what to do about it. I strongly suspect. Too much going on. Girardi is back on the back of Gibbons. Interested in having a run. Because the guys are going to ask. He's got right back onto the back of him again. Van Dijk on Sanderson. Was within 4/10 at the last sector. So let's see if I mean, it's very difficult to do any kind of moves up through Piratella, Acqua Minerale, and Variante Alta. Although sometimes through Variante Alta, if they make a big mistake on the exit of Minerale, then you could try and grab that position, but you have to do it so fast. There we have it. Final lap has been initiated by Ben Floyd. Based on the gap that we saw earlier, you'd have to suspect that he's going to be able to bring this one home. But it is not over just yet.
Bentley he loses a couple of tenths through that chicane every time, and that compromises the gap at Rivazza.
He really wants to be closer here, doesn't he? So he's relying more on a big mistake by Sanderson.
Ooh, he might have it there. Almost up the wheel.
Does have the slipstream now. The Audi is very quick on the straight here, so he could. I don't think he'll get the move done, but I think he can get close and maybe put some pressure on Sanderson. Maybe get later on the brakes. No, he's going to let that one go. Ooh, Sanderson using all the curb. Might get a good run and See if he does. Looks like Ben Dyke's got the better run though.
Yeah, looks like he's not quite able to close it out at the moment. We'll keep half an eye. So up the front, as we can see, all those gaps are actually quite open. Girardi the closest. Back of Gibbons. And that is not sweet.
Leader has finished the race.
Anything else like that behind him, that'll be a lapped Aston. Leader has finished the race, so that is Ben Floyd taking the win. And Girardi's going to be a bit too far behind. The fan favourite, apparently. Ben Dyke. I'll have to find out for sure. It's going to be kind of a last hurrah here. As JP pointed out, he's not been able to get great minerales. Variante Alta's done, which means that he's just not going to be close enough to try and have a run on Ravazza, but a 16th will be a very solid position indeed, assuming that no one's run out of fuel and he's not going to be able to sneak a quick one at the end.
Well, second in class podium, not too bad.
Yeah,
very well done.
Very good.
Yeah, and only a couple of tenths behind first in class as well, so it's a solid performance. Pete Viney is coming in just behind one of his teammates, two of his teammates indeed, between Neighbour, Johnson and Viney all coming in there as well. Just check it. Okay, the car's just got some sand there. And I'm not seeing any other super tight battles. There is Frustock, who has actually gotten through Holmes, who's managed to pick himself up a drive through, presumably for track limits on the final corners. Oh, that's insult to injury, and he is immediately off to the side. He's had enough of that, as is fair and reasonable. Leonard Scott, is he out of fuel?
Out of fuel.
Out of steering? As well, I think. Not sure what happened there. Something?
I think he's run away from his rig.
He might have just turned it off and walked away. But I think that is all completed. Everyone that's going to will have been. And there you have it. That is the final result. So Ben Floyd, Sam Misson and Stefano Rasciuti take the podium. That is Judith Sen, Girardi and Laird for the Pro-Am, and Sanderson, Bendick, and who is that? I didn't quite catch it from the AM class. Timetables, race 2, AM class was Wolf for third in his class as well. So overall, actually a pretty clean race 2. Did see a couple of incidents, but nothing. The early one was not great, but not the worst. For you guys, any standouts this evening?
Oh, Misson played that race really well. Didn't make any mistakes. Capitalised on all the mistakes made by others. Got P2. Rasciuti as well to hold on to a podium position after all the stuff that happened. That's well done there. And also to Ben Dyke as well, fan favourite, did very well, and Smithy did very well, even though with that penalty. Also Gibbons coming back after that race 1 blunder.
Yeah, I'd have to go with Jacobs for this race. He put up a great fight on Smith, kept him behind, race cleaned, and yeah, he's done very well to place top 5 after facing lots of pressure throughout the whole race. So very well done by him.
Yeah, that's a good point. I'll say what is not the MVP, and it's the weather. Not a single drop of race rain.
Yeah, what's that?
But the illusion that there might have been sun. So next week, more rain. But I think that's been a great one. I think the actual MVP is you, listener, viewer. Thank you, especially if you liked and subscribed. Right?
We look forward to seeing all the bending heads in next week.
We do.
I love it. All right. I'm going to wrap this up and head to bed, Ned. You guys can come to JP, Hobbsy. Thank you very much once again.
Thank you, guys.
Look forward to seeing you guys all next time.
Have a wonderful night.
See ya.
Thanks all.